Sangzhou number 3 high school teacher's office. Lu Hao was summoned and pushed open the door. The room was stiflingly hot in the peak heat of June. The ceiling fan spun slowly, emitting a dull, creaking sound. Sign this bonus point transfer agreement. Head teacher Wang Defa slid a printed document toward him. You only awakened a gathering talent, a civilian occupation, this morning. You have no combat talents at all. You won't qualify for the Unified Great Martial Arts examination. This martyr family bonus point is useless to you. Hand it over to Wang Xiang. Wang Xiang has awakened an A-rank magic warrior talent. With these 40 bonus points, he can gain admission to Tsinghua Peking Martial Arts University. This will be a monumental achievement for our school and for your entire grade. Lu Hao frowned. 2 years ago, his father Lu Yuanshan and sister Lu Qing set off on a vital national secret realm exploration mission. They never returned and were officially declared martyrs. According to official policy, children of martyrs received a 40-point bonus for the Great Martial Arts examination. This privilege was one of a kind across all of Sangzhou. For 2 years, there had been no trace of them, alive or dead. This bonus qualification was the last comfort he clung to. And now, they wanted him to give it away? His gaze drifted past Wang Defa to the person sitting behind him, Wang Xiang. Wang Xiang slouched in his chair with one leg crossed over the other, staring coldly at Lu Hao. The Wang family held immense power and influence in Sangzhou. As a wealthy heir, Wang Xiang had always acted tyrannically in class. Lu Hao shook his head. I refuse. Wang Defa's brows tightened, and he put on a pained expression. Lu Hao, how can you be so unreasonable? You need to understand. This isn't for one person alone. It's for the collective honor of number 3 high school. You have to consider the bigger picture. What lofty talk of collective honor. Was this the same teacher Wang who always delivered sanctimonious speeches in class meetings about respecting teachers and unity among classmates? Lu Hao took a deep breath and spoke slowly. Teacher Wang, this privilege was earned with my father's and sister's lives. His voice stayed calm, but his fingers clenched tightly into fists beneath the desk. Why should it belong to someone else? Wang Xiang let out a mocking snort and stood up slowly. He walked over to Lu Hao and tilted his head. Lu Hao, we're speaking politely to you out of consideration for our shared time as classmates. If you sign, I can offer you a position in one of the Wang family's industries as a gatherer. Several thousand yuan each month, enough to cover your food and living expenses. But if you refuse, he flicked his fingernail, his tone turning icy in an instant. I'll make sure you can't work as a gatherer at all. Countless businesses in Sangzhou are connected to the Wang family network. No one will buy your harvested materials, and no employer will dare hire you. This isn't a threat. It's simply stating facts. Lu Hao narrowed his eyes. His hands knotted into fists under the table. He was already in a terrible mood today. He had held high hopes for his occupation awakening, only to receive a mere gathering talent for civilian work. His future looked bleak. He had hit rock bottom. Wang Xiang, meanwhile, had awakened the school's top talent and become the center of everyone's attention. Even with everything handed to him, he still craved what belonged to others. He simply assumed everyone ought to yield to him. Let me be clear, I'm not being petty. Wang Xiang pulled a bank card from his pocket and slapped it down on the desk in front of Lu Hao. You're just putting on an act to squeeze more benefits out of this. 30,000 yuan. That's enough for someone like you to live comfortably for 2 years. Lu Hao's gaze turned frigid. This gesture was a blatant insult to him and to the dignity of his martyred family. Wang Defa chimed in earnestly. What Wang Xiang says makes sense. As a civilian gatherer, you still need to make a living. Cross the Wang family, and you'll struggle to find any work at all. Think about it. If these 40 points go to Wang Xiang, he can enter the top university and grow into a powerful combat professional to defend our nation. What a meritorious act. Your father and sister would rest easy knowing this in the afterlife. Rest easy? His father and sister fought on the front lines for their country. Would they find peace watching people back home bully their surviving family to seize what little they had left, all for personal gain? Lu Hao said coldly. Teacher Wang, as head teacher, you are collaborating with others to bully a student. Can you still call yourself an educator? Wang Defa's face stiffened. Anger flashed in his eyes for a split second. Then he resumed the gentle tone he used in lessons. I'm looking out for your future. Why can't you see that? Lu Hao shook his head calmly. I'll say this one last time. This qualification was won by my father and sister's blood. No amount of money, no amount of pressure from anyone will make me transfer it. Wang Xiang's arrogant expression twisted into rage. You're asking for trouble, aren't you? Do you think you can stop me from getting these points just by refusing to sign? They had completely cast aside all decency for the sake of profit. Lu Hao abruptly stood up and stared coldly at the two men. Listen carefully. You want to seize my bonus qualification? Don't even dream about it. It will never happen. As for all your threats, he turned, pulled open the office door, and walked away without a backward glance. I'll be waiting. Behind him, Wang Xiang's face turned livid, and he roared angrily. You're really pushing your luck. Wang Defa shouted in exasperation. Lu Hao, get back here. Outside the school gates, Lu Hao still burned with indignation thinking about the two men. One wore a mask of righteousness. The other was openly arrogant. Under high-sounding excuses like, this is useless for you, and consider the bigger picture, they sought to rob him of what was his. They demanded what belonged to him as if it was their right. Where was justice in this world? Why was this happening? Simply because he was only a civilian occupation holder? He refused to accept his fate. He would not resign himself to weakness. Ding! Right at that moment, a cold electronic notification echoed inside his mind. You have awakened the Supreme Infinite Gathering System. Basic Gathering upgraded to Infinite Gathering. You may plunder the fundamental origins and talents of all living things. Spend money to instantly restore all mental power. No cooldown, no waiting period for endless gathering. Lu Hao's whole body jolted, his pupils contracting sharply. Gatherers, civilian profession holders, were common. Everyone knew they could only harvest basic materials from plants and creatures. If infinite gathering truly allowed him to seize fundamental talents and make them his own, he could gain combat power and never be bullied again. He opened his occupation panel. Occupation, Gatherer, Level, LV.1, Attributes, Strength 5, Agility 5, Spirit 5, Constitution 5, Talent, Infinite Gathering. The talent slot had changed from Ordinary Gathering to Infinite Gathering. School had let out by now. Lu Hao walked out of the school gate. A light breeze swayed the weeds along the roadside. Most were foxtail grasses, trampled by passers-by yet stubbornly clinging to life. He stopped, drawing a deep breath. Infinite Gathering. He stretched out a hand toward one foxtail grass. A faint flash of white light flickered. Infinite Gathering successful. Obtained. Perfect foxtail grass, sap ×1. You harvested a wisp of life origin. Permanent Constitution, +1. Lu Hao's eyes widened in shock. He froze, his hand still outstretched. A warm stream of life energy surged through his body, spreading everywhere. The tangible boost to his physical form sent a tingle down his spine. He could genuinely feel himself growing stronger. The once vibrant foxtail grass lost its green luster in plain sight. It withered, turned black, trembled in the wind, and crumbled into fine dust. This, plunder through gathering. He gasped in shock. After Lu Hao left the office, Wang Xiang seethed with rage, his face dark. Uncle, why waste time negotiating with him? We can just alter the name ourselves. Wang Defa shook his head. The principal won't allow it. Without his signed consent, the transfer holds no legal weight. He paused. Don't worry, Xiang. I write his graduation evaluation as his head teacher. If I mark him poorly, he won't even be able to enter vocational schools. Wang Xiang sneered. One way or another, I will get those bonus points. He turned his gaze toward the school gate. We'll see if he shows up at the beginner's secret realm tomorrow. If he doesn't come, it proves he's nothing more than a useless gatherer. The principal won't dare stand in my way anymore. And if he does come, his voice sank sharply. I'll make sure he enters the secret realm, but never makes it out alive. Lu Hao stood on the empty roadside beneath heavy gray clouds, beside the withered grass he had just harvested. Shock and excitement surged within him. He checked his panel. Constitution had risen from 5 to 6. Just one use of infinite gathering had granted him a full attribute point. It was unbelievable. His hands trembled, and his heart raced wildly. Attribute points determined how powerful an occupation holder was. Leveling up once only granted 5 attribute points in total. In this world ravaged by monster incursions and reviving spiritual energy, all living things possessed spiritual essence. Still, these roadside foxtail grasses were far inferior to the spirit plants nurtured by rich spiritual energy inside secret realms and dungeons. That made it all the more incredible that a common roadside weed could yield a permanent origin point. His breathing quickened. He targeted another foxtail grass and activated infinite gathering. Light flashed, and the plant withered instantly. Once again, warm, robust energy flooded his limbs. Permanent life attribute +1. One after another, he activated the skill on foxtail grasses. Each harvest brought permanent life attribute gains. Lush specimens yielded more origin, while weaker, yellowed ones offered less. These attribute improvements were not just numbers on a screen. They merged into his body, transforming him from within. His heartbeat grew steady and powerful, his breathing deeper and longer. After the fifth harvest, a wave of dizziness crashed over him. I'm out of stamina. He understood immediately. His base spirit stat of 5 translated to a maximum stamina pool of 50 points. Each use of infinite gathering consumed 10 stamina points. That meant he could only gather 5 times in a row at full capacity. He had gotten carried away by excitement and ignored the stamina cost. He had seen mage-type professionals recover stamina before. Most either waited for slow natural recovery, which could take more than 10 hours of meditation. Wealthy practitioners bought expensive stamina recovery potions, yet those also required waiting time to take effect. At that moment, the system notification sounded again. Host stamina depleted detected. Spend money to instantly restore all mental power? 1 yuan purchases 1 point of mental power. Lu Hao mentally selected yes. Money 50. Mental power restored by 50 points. 50 yuan vanished from his pocket, and his stamina bar jumped straight from 0/50ths to 50/50ths. Fully restored just like that? No waiting time at all. Spend money to refill stamina endlessly and harvest without cease. The system formed a perfect, unbroken cycle. He opened his attribute panel. Attributes: Strength 5, Agility 5, Spirit 5, Constitution 9. In just a short while, Constitution jumped from 5 to 9, nearly doubled. Even though he had calculated it himself, seeing the numbers on the panel made his heart pound. The improved vitality and physical resilience were completely real. He recalled the school's C-rank shield warrior known as the Iron Wall, whose starting Constitution stat was only 8. Right now, Lu Hao already surpassed him in pure Constitution. He clenched his fist, feeling the toughness building beneath his skin. No more foxtail grasses grew nearby. Lu Hao took a deep breath and turned his eyes toward a cluster of sensitive plants. Infinite gathering. Faint light flared once more. This time, the energy rushing into him was cool and clear, surging straight to his forehead. His mind grew startlingly sharp. This is spirit attribute improvement? A priceless gain. His maximum stamina was still only 50 points, far too limiting. He had not expected to find a source of spirit points so quickly. Foxtail grasses thrived under hardship, their origin rooted in life. Sensitive plants reacted to every disturbance, their origin tied to perception and spirit. It seemed infinite gathering extracted different gains depending on the inherent nature of the target. Lu Hao harvested the 4 remaining sensitive plants until his stamina hit 0 once again. He checked his panel anew. Attributes: Strength 5, Agility 5, Spirit 10, Constitution 9. Spirit reached 10 points. He had heard that Songzhou's top awakening talent this year, Lin Shuiyao from No. 1 high school with an S-rank lightning affinity, only had a starting spirit stat of 10. With just a few roadside-sensitive plants, Lu Hao had matched her. Lin Shuiyao, the name surfaced in his mind, stirring complicated emotions. Lu Hao lifted his gaze toward the hazy, distant sky, as if his sight could cross the distance. He tightened his fist until his knuckles creaked. The Lin family, sooner or later, he would visit them again. Replenish mental power. He spent another 100 yuan, filling his stamina to 100 points. From what he had observed, plant origins mostly boosted constitution and spirit. Where could he gain strength and agility? Perhaps animals or ferocious beasts. He walked a few steps and spotted faint white glimmers beneath the grass. Focusing, he saw a line of marching ants. These were large, robust black mountain ants, likely mutated from feeding on spirit ores, stronger than ordinary insects. They moved in a swarm, preparing for rain. Lu Hao crouched down, crushed one ant, and activated infinite gathering. You harvested a wisp of strength origin. Permanent strength, +1. Muscles along his arm twitched. A tingling sensation spread from his fingertips to his shoulders, waist, and legs. Lu Hao instantly felt his physical power rise. Strength, the attribute governing attack power. Perfect. A surge of excitement welled up inside him. Without hesitation, he used infinite gathering on more black mountain ants and gained another strength point. On the third ant ding, infinite gathering triggered critical harvest. You harvested profound origin. Acquired F-rank strength talent, strength augmentation. Strength augmentation F rank. You gain enhanced mastery over physical strength and unlock access to Tier 1 strength skills. Lu Hao's eyes widened. It was only the lowest F-rank talent, yet it meant he, a civilian gatherer, could step into the realm of combat professions. Wang Defa, Wang Xiang, and the others dared to bully him freely purely because they believed he lacked combat talent and could not take part in the great martial arts examination. They used that as an excuse to strip him of his bonus points. But now, if he could fight, grow stronger, and qualify for the exam, what excuse would they have left? Lu Hao clenched his right fist, veins bulging on his knuckles. His gaze sharpened steadily. Everyone thinks I am destined to remain weak. I will prove to you all that I will grow far stronger than any of you. He continued harvesting black mountain ants. The fourth ant triggered another critical harvest, strength +1. Acquired F-rank strength talent, strength augmentation. Detected 2 copies of F-rank talent, strength augmentation. Would you like to fuse them? Fuse. You obtained E-rank talent, surge strength. E-rank talent, surge strength. Profound mastery over physical power. All strength-based attacks deal 200 damage. Lu Hao stared in shock. Within the established occupation system, advancing a talent was an extremely difficult feat. That was where the saying, "One awakening decides your fate forever" came from. Talents were ranked from SSS down to F. Higher ranks meant superior base attributes, faster growth, higher potential ceilings, and greater ease learning occupation skills. But today, he had broken all established rules of the occupation system. Right now, he was equivalent to an E-rank warrior profession holder. More than that, most E-rank strength warriors at level 1 only possessed 7 points of strength. Lu Hao already had 9. His life and spirit attributes were far above average as well. Most importantly, this was only the beginning. Lu Hao looked toward the scattered black mountain ants in the grass. These were not merely ants. They were walking sources of attribute points and strength talents. His eyes locked onto the largest ant queen among them. He crushed it. Infinite gathering. You extracted Tier 2 skill. Concentrated strike from the mutated black mountain ant queen. Concentrated strike. Gather all physical power into one focal point to deal 4 times standard physical damage. Knowledge of the skill flooded into his mind instantly, as if it had always been an innate instinct. Lu Hao was stunned, then overcome with exhilaration. It was incredible. Concentrated strike, a Tier 2 skill. Lu Hao was certain that among all students of his grade, no one else possessed such a powerful offensive skill right now. Glancing around, he spotted a soccer-sized boulder half buried in the mud nearby. Lu Hao drew a deep breath, walked over to the stone, and lowered his stance. Concentrated strike. A strange wave of heat rose from his chest and raced down his right arm, condensing on his fist. He could feel power compressing, building tension, waiting to be unleashed, like a coiled spring stretched to its limit. Huh! He let out a low roar and punched the boulder. The moment his fist made contact, the condensed power erupted outward. Boom! The entire stone shattered into 4 or 5 chunks, scattering dirt and rock fragments in every direction. Lu Hao's fist hung suspended in midair. Unbelievable. He stared at the broken rock, then at his own clenched right hand. He could smash a boulder with one punch. And he was supposedly just a gatherer? This skill multiplied attack power. It was likely tied to the natural trait of ants, capable of lifting objects dozens of times their own body weight. At this moment, he felt stronger than he had ever been. For some reason, a surge of bittersweet emotion welled up within him, a feeling of enduring hardship to turn his fate around. Dad, sister, I refuse to believe you're dead. What secret realm did you enter? Perhaps one day, I will be able to find you. He turned and fixed his gaze firmly on the mutated black mountain ants scurrying away in the grass, routed by his earlier actions. Let's see what other surprises await. He threw a punch and crushed one ant to death. Endless harvest. The harvest limit for this species has been reached. Oh. This time, he only obtained antacid, not a single attribute point. He did not grow frustrated and offered a faint smile. All things in existence follow causal laws and material principles. If he could no longer harvest black mountain ants, there were still white mountain ants, red mountain ants, and more. Lu Hao turned around and tried to cast endless harvest on the green bristle grass and sensitive plants. He had only harvested 5 times before. The same notification appeared. The limit had been hit. There were countless varieties of creatures in the world, and he could plunder them to his heart's content. He glanced around at the thick weeds and walked along the roadside, searching for new species. Though he could not find beasts comparable to the mutated black mountain ants for the time being, he discovered 4 new plants. They were purslane, mugwort, plantain, and goosegrass. 2 of them yielded spirit attribute points upon harvest, and the other 2 yielded vitality attribute points. He gained another 10 attribute points in total. Meanwhile, the 600 yuan he had on him was completely spent. He could no longer purchase mana potions. He had never possessed much money. He worked part-time while attending school, counting every coin carefully. If he continued spending at this rate, his funds would never suffice. I need money, a vast amount of money. Lu Hao sighed. Only then can I grow powerful at top speed. Lu Hao opened his status panel. Class, Harvester level, 1 attributes, Strength 10, Agility 5, Spirit 20, Stamina 20. Class Talent. Endless Harvest Strength Talent. E-Rank Strength Enhancement Second Tier Skill. Concentrated Strike Total Attributes. 55 points. Among all his classmates who had just transferred classes that day, even the most powerful profession holder possessed a maximum of 25 total attribute points. None could compare to him. Boundless pride and confidence rose within Lu Hao. What rewards would he gain if he entered a dungeon to harvest spirit herbs, elite savage beasts, and rare exotic stones? He looked forward to it immensely. Before awakening and transferring classes, he trained relentlessly, exhausting every means to strengthen his physique, hoping to raise his odds of obtaining a combat talent. In the end, he only received an F-rank life talent, which had crushed his hopes. Now, a new path had opened before him. Endless Harvest is formidable, yet it burns through money rapidly. Of course, I could wait for my energy to recover naturally without spending money, but then I could only harvest a few times each day. How long would it take to grow strong at that pace? I cannot wait. Lu Hao clenched his fist. I must grow powerful quickly. He glanced down at his hands. After dozens of harvests, besides attribute points and talents, he had obtained 10 bottles of perfect plant liquid. Though these liquids were not spirit liquid, their flawless purity made them superior auxiliary materials for potions. The emerald liquid was clear and transparent, carrying a faint herbal fragrance. Perfect green bristlegrass plant liquid contains trace vitality energy, can serve as auxiliary material for low-grade potions. Old Wu in the eastern city buys materials like these. If I can sell some, I can hit the accelerator on my cultivation with Endless Harvest. He was in urgent need of funds and immediately changed his direction. West City. Night shrouded the old district beneath dim streetlights. Lu Hao stood before a peeling iron gate and looked up at the faded sign, Old Wu's Herbal Processing. He pushed the door open, and a familiar herbal scent washed over him. He knew this aroma all too well. In the 3 years since his father and sister vanished, he had worked here after school. He survived thanks to Old Wu's kindness. Uncle Wu, a gray-haired old man, squatted on the ground sorting herbs. It's Xiao Lu. Why are you here so late? Have you eaten? Warmth stirred faintly in Lu Hao's chest. I've eaten. Today was the class awakening day at school. I just left campus. Tell me quickly, what class did you awaken? The old man set down the herbs in his hands, brushed dirt off his palms, and turned to face Lu Hao. His expression a mix of anticipation and nervousness. Lu Hao fell silent for 2 seconds. F-rank harvester. Old Wu froze. A harvester. He repeated the word softly, a flicker of pity crossing his eyes. He knew how stubborn and ambitious this boy was. Then he smiled. What's wrong with being a harvester? Every trade produces outstanding talents. I could use someone like you here. You may not win glory, but you'll always have enough to eat. Uncle Wu, I came tonight to sell something. Lu Hao retrieved 10 bottles of green liquid from his storage space and set them before Old Wu. I harvested some roadside plants. See if they are of any use to you. Old Wu sighed inwardly. What value could sap squeezed from ordinary roadside weeds hold? This must be the result of him experimenting with his newly awakened harvester ability. Even so, he picked up one bottle and twisted off the cap. A rich, pure herbal fragrance spilled out from the opening and drifted into his nostrils. The next instant, his expression stiffened. His eyes widened sharply as he stared fixedly at the liquid inside. This is perfect grade quality. His voice trembled. He turned to stare straight at Lu Hao. Boy, where did you get this? I harvested it myself. How much can you pay? Old Wu took a deep breath. These are indeed fine materials, but they are extracted from common plants with extremely weak inherent energy. They can only be used as auxiliary ingredients for low-grade potions. Lu Hao nodded. Old Wu pondered briefly, then held up one finger. I'll buy all of these for 10,000 yuan. 10,000 yuan. Lu Hao's heartbeat quickened. The offer exceeded his expectations. Boy, Old Wu clapped him on the shoulder. Rest assured, I won't cheat you. He walked into the back room and soon returned with a thick envelope, handing it to Lu Hao. 10,000 yuan. Count it. Lu Hao took the envelope without checking the cash and tucked it into his pocket. They chatted for a while longer before Lu Hao departed. Old Wu stared at the plant liquid and muttered to himself. An F-rank harvester, yet he can produce liquid of such purity? What a waste that they only come from weeds. If he could achieve the same purity harvesting spirit herbs, the implications would be staggering. On his way home, Lu Hao saw constant messages scrolling in his school group chat. His classmates discussed professions, talents, and attribute points fervently. Did you hear? Wang Xiang has 8 strength points, with 27 total attribute points. Someone posted the line, triggering a flood of shocked replies below. Whoa, that's monstrous. But the top talent in Sangzhou this year is Lin Shuiyao from number 1 high school, S-rank Lightning Affinity. Talk of Lin Shuiyao stirred up even more excitement. Watching the conversation unfold, Lu Hao tugged at the corner of his mouth. They were nothing extraordinary. If they knew his total attributes had already reached 55, they would be utterly stunned. Still, he chose to remain a silent observer. He planned to conceal his true strength until he possessed sufficient self-protection capability. He was about to close the chat when a system notification popped up. Announcement: all awakened students must gather on the playground at 8 tomorrow morning. The school will organize entry to the novice trial secret realm, Misty Plains. Life professions are not recommended to participate. Not recommended, not forbidden. Even as a beginner dungeon, it held abundant spirit herbs and savage beasts. It carried certain dangers, yet the resources far surpassed green bristlegrass and black mountain ants by the roadside. He now had money as well. He could harvest to his heart's content. Night deepened. Lu Hao stopped to buy glass bottles prepared for tomorrow's harvest before returning home. He lived in a low bungalow. A yellowed photograph rested on the table, a portrait of 3 people. A middle-aged man and a young woman in combat uniforms, with a youthful Lu Hao standing off to the side. It was his father Lu Yuanshan and his sister Lu Qing. Lu Hao brushed his fingertips gently over their faces in the photo. Dad, sister, I refuse to accept that you are gone. Rest assured, I will grow powerful, and I will come find you. He placed the photo back into the drawer and laid down on his bed. He could barely wait for tomorrow's dungeon. Misty Plains was a secret realm renovated by the Huaxia government to serve as a training ground for newly awakened profession holders, shaping them into genuine warriors. Early the next morning, Lu Hao arrived at school. When Wang Defa learned Lu Hao intended to join the trial, he flew into a rage. It meant Lu Hao had no intention of giving up his bonus qualification. When Wang Xiang spotted him, malice flickered in his eyes. He glared fiercely. Buses carried the students toward the eastern suburbs. A huge crowd filled the plaza before the secret realm entrance. Students from number 1, number 2, experimental high school, and more gathered together. The principal of number 3 high school, Jian, a man in his 50s with a bald patch on top of his head, addressed the crowd. The novice dungeon lasts 3 days. After 3 days, everyone will be automatically expelled. Each of you receives a transmission wristband, which can teleport you out immediately if you face mortal danger. Wang Xiang stood at the front of his group clad in dark golden light armor, a great sword hanging at his waist. Envious glances surrounded him. Lu Hao noticed that among all the life profession holders who had transferred classes, he was the only one who had come. Wang Xiang stepped before Lu Hao and looked down at him. You dare enter the secret realm with a worthless life profession? I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the bonus qualification to me, and I can overlook everything that happened before. As soon as he finished speaking, 2 of his followers stepped forward. Lu Hao, how dare you provoke young Master Wang? What are you even? Young Master Wang could crush you with a single finger. The speaker was Li Cheng, a distant relative of the Wang family, whose father managed a small enterprise under the Wang group. Desperate to climb into the Wang family's inner circle, he constantly catered to Wang Xiang. He was one of his most loyal lackeys. Right after Li Cheng spoke, the other man shouted loudly. Everyone, pay attention. This man is Lu Hao, a life profession holder with no combat ability. Do not form a team with him. He swept his gaze over the surrounding students as he spoke. This was Zhao Hong. His family ran a small supplier business under the Wang industrial chain. He was also a devoted follower of Wang Xiang. Winning Wang Xiang's favor meant securing his family's livelihood. Their shouts drew countless stares from nearby students, filled with disdain. Why is a life profession holder even here? Does he hope to leech resources off other teams? Humph. Who would team up with him? What can a harvester do besides pick weeds? How naive. Even if someone mistakenly invites him, they'll kick him out as soon as they realize what he is. Several teachers in the distance were unaware of the full conflict, yet shook their heads watching the scene. The 2 are incomparable. One is the brightest star of number 3 high school, the other a harvester with no combat prospects. The gap between them is heaven and earth. Though there are resources to gather inside the secret realm, the risks are high. Without a squad protecting him, he can barely survive. Principal Jian frowned. He thought Wang Xiang and his companions were overly arrogant and out of line. He opened his mouth to speak, yet said nothing in the end. Wang Xiang was number 3 high school's greatest hope for honors this year. Lu Hao, a life profession holder, could hardly bring any glory to the school. Lu Hao remained calm as he looked at Wang Xiang and his 2 lackeys. Only the weak resort to empty threats. If these people pushed him too far, he would teach them an unforgettable lesson. Teams from each school advanced into the secret realm. Lu Hao stepped into the swirling portal. Behind him, Wang Xiang sneered. There will be no teachers watching inside the dungeon. You will be alone sooner or later. Crushing you will take no more than a single finger. A mist-shrouded jungle stretched out, damp soil mixed with the scent of blood. Hundreds of newly arrived students filled the area, creating chaotic commotion. Lu Hao frowned and walked toward one side. Just then, a stir erupted in the crowd, accompanied by countless exclamations. Lin Shuiyao. It's Goddess Lin Shuiyao. A young boy shouted excitedly as he hurried forward. Her looks truly are unparalleled. She deserves first place on the campus beauty rankings. Her father is Lin Chuanshan, hailed as a war god, and she herself possesses the S-rank lightning affinity. She has the strongest talent in Sangzhou this year. I'd die happy if I could be her partner for just one day. Countless people craned their necks and chattered. At the center of the crowd stood 4 young women, all exceptionally beautiful. Leading them was a girl of 17 or 18, dressed in an elegant moon-white mage's robe. Her figure was graceful, with a slender waist and long straight legs visible beneath the hem of her robe. Her delicate features looked as if painted by a master artist, and her fair skin glowed softly. Goddess Lin, look over here, please. She's 10,000 times more beautiful than in recordings. Chaotic shouts and cheers filled the air. Surrounded by the crowd, Lin Shuiyao wore no smile. Her icy clear eyes carried a faint frown, radiating a cold aura that kept others at a distance. Lu Hao watched the commotion and shook his head, walking left to escape the throng. Lu Hao. A clear voice called out from behind him. Lu Hao turned and saw Lin Shuiyao, who had slipped away from the crowd without anyone noticing. Why have you come to the secret realm? She asked softly. Her tone was gentle, a stark contrast to her cold demeanor moments earlier. Am I not allowed? Unlike the swarm of admirers, Lu Hao's reply was cold. I've heard about what happened with Wang Xiang. Lin Shuiyao paused. The Wang family holds great power. You're alone. She hesitated a moment before continuing. If you are willing, I can ask my father to intervene. The Wang family will not dare to disregard him. Lu Hao's gaze turned sharp the moment he heard the word father. Lin Chuanshan. A mocking smile tugged at his lips. Save it. I have no ties to your Lin family. Lin Shuiyao's breath hitched. I mean no harm, she sighed softly. I simply do not wish to see you hurt. Lu Hao regarded her calmly. Memories surfaced. 2 years ago, they had been close friends. Her father Lin Chuanshan and his father Lu Yuanshan were brothers in arms. The two families were as one. Everything fell apart after that secret realm expedition. Lu Yuanshan and Lu Qing vanished within it, yet Lin Chuanshan returned alive. Lu Hao had visited the Lin family repeatedly to demand the truth, but Lin Chuanshan refused to utter a single word. He offered no explanation at all. The Lin family wielded immense influence, and Lu Hao had been powerless. He had cut off all contact with them ever since. Wang Xiang is not worthy of harming me, Lu Hao said coldly. He turned and walked away. Lin Shuiyao stared at his retreating back, tempted to chase after him, yet stopped. After a long moment, she sighed quietly. You're still as stubborn as ever. One of the girls beside her chuckled, sounding dismissive. Shuiyao, I've never seen you speak so gently to any boy. She wore a dagger at her waist and moved with sharp agility. She was Zhou Ji, an assassin. I've observed him. He truly is a life profession holder. Honestly speaking, this secret realm is no place for someone like him. Look at him, all alone, with no team to join. Zhou Ji, don't say that. Xiao Shui, a priestess, bit her lip, watching Lu Hao's lonely figure. He looks so isolated. I can't help but feel for him. The assassin let out a scoff. Pity? Shuiyao shows concern for him, but does he appreciate it? After awakening a life profession, he ought to stay safely at school instead of rushing into the secret realm. How many times can you protect him? She paused. Shuiyao, you and he exist in entirely different worlds. You may offer kindness once in a while, but do not take this too seriously. Lin Shuiyao frowned but did not argue. She knew her friend spoke the truth. Still, she could not stop thinking about that distant figure. The third girl had remained silent all along. She carried a large bow on her back, tall and sharp-eyed. She was Su Wan, an archer. Her eyes narrowed as she kept tracking Lu Hao's departing form. As an archer, she possessed the eagle-eye skill, which granted limited powers of discernment. There is something strange about this life profession holder, she murmured to herself. Suwan, what is it? Lin Shuiyao asked. Suwan shook her head and looked away. Nothing. Yet her doubts grew stronger. Something was off. The vitality emanating from that young man was far too intense. His spirit power also did not match what one would expect from a mere life profession holder. She chose not to voice her suspicions. Approximately half an hour later, all student groups had vanished into the misty forest. Lu Hao began to advance slowly. He had walked less than 10 minutes when the sounds of fierce combat drifted toward him. He crept closer. 3 gray-furred hares the size of small dogs were locked in battle with 5 profession holders. These red-eyed hares possessed powerful hind legs, capable of leaping 3 or 4 meters in a single bound. With upright ears and blood-red eyes, they attacked by charging and biting. Red-eyed hare, rank 1 savage beast, Lu Hao thought to himself. The team struggled greatly to slay all 3 hares, gasping heavily after the fight. Damn it, these rabbits are so fast. I can't land a hit. Luckily their attack power isn't too high. Otherwise, we would have died out here. They hastily treated their wounds, not even sparing a glance at the rabbit corpses on the ground, and hobbled deeper into the woods while supporting one another. Lu Hao stepped out from behind a tree. Staring at the mangled carcasses, the corners of his mouth tugged upward. To those people, these ferocious beast corpses were worthless. To Lu Hao, they were a goldmine. He knelt down, placed his palm on the body of a crimson-eyed hare, and muttered, "Endless harvest." A faint white light flickered. Endless harvest successful. You obtained crimson-eyed hare pelt ×1. You absorbed a trace of agility origin. Agility permanently increased by 2 points. A wisp of nimble energy surged into Lu Hao's body, making his muscles feel smooth and light all at once. Agility. It had always been his weakest stat among the 4 primary attributes, and he had finally gained some. Lu Hao was overjoyed. He had no intention of hunting monsters himself for now. Thousands of students were crowded in the front areas, and he did not want to expose himself. Besides, there was no need to fight personally. Without hesitation, he used Endless Harvest on the other 2 crimson-eyed hare corpses on the battlefield. His agility rose from 5 points to 11, more than doubling. He bent his knees and leaped forward abruptly, moving with remarkable fluidity. His movements were a far cry from how an ordinary person with only 5 agility would act. Lu Hao swept his gaze across his surroundings. Distant rabbit screeches and the roars of awakened professionals drifted over. Clearly, many teams were locked in combat with these Tier 1 ferocious beasts. He quickened his pace and headed deeper, following the sounds of battle. 50 meters ahead lay another battlefield. 3 more crimson-eyed hare corpses rested on the ground, their blood still fresh. Lu Hao stretched out his hand to activate Endless Harvest, when suddenly you acquired F-tier agility talent. Nimbleness. Nimbleness F-tier. Moderately boost bodily coordination and reaction speed. Unlocks access to first-tier agility skills. I've unlocked an agility talent. Lu Hao broke through the professional barrier once more, becoming an agility-type combat professional. Agility-type combat professionals moved like lightning, boasting high critical strike chance and evasion, standing among the elite of all combat classes. When harvesting the 6th crimson-eyed hare, the system notified him that he had reached the temporary harvest limit. Still, he gained an intact hare pelt that he could sell later for money. Lu Hao pressed onward. Whenever he spotted slain crimson-eyed hares left behind, he harvested them without delay. Before long, he entered the Tier 2 ferocious beast zone, home to creatures known as azure wolves. These azure wolves possessed long, powerful limbs, moving like blurred gray shadows when they ran. They were incredibly difficult to fight. Even novice teams working together needed ages to take down just one. Meanwhile, Lu Hao wandered like a ghost between battlefields. Whenever a team finished their fight and departed, he stepped onto the scene. You obtained Azure Wolf Pelt ×1 common. You absorbed a trace of agility origin. Agility permanently increased by 2 points. Another beast aligned with the agility attribute. Shortly afterward, he finished harvesting 5 Tier 2 Azure Wolf corpses. The wolves did not drop any talents, yet they brought him a wonderful surprise, an agility-type skill. You acquired first-tier skill, Swift Stride. Swift Stride first tier. Boost movement speed by 300 for 5 seconds. Cooldown, 20 seconds. Lu Hao focused his mind, and a light sensation washed over his legs. He activated Swift Stride. In an instant, he shot forward like an arrow loosed from a bow, wind whistling beside his ears. When the 5 seconds ended, he was already 300 meters away. Lu Hao nodded in satisfaction. This speed would offer immense support to both his attacks and evasion, making him far more formidable. He moved into the Tier 3 ferocious beast zone, where combat difficulty rose to another level. Golden pupil falcons boasted a wingspan of over 2 meters, covered in taupe plumage with striking fine golden feathers circling their eyes. Not only were they extremely agile, they took to the skies and struck from above, making them hard to guard against. One team after another sustained injuries, and everyone struggled desperately. No one was having an easier time than Lu Hao, who waited patiently. Eventually, stronger teams managed to bring down these golden pupil falcons. Only then did he step forward. Lu Hao placed his hand on a falcon's corpse. As soft light flashed, a warm golden crystal sphere settled into his palm. Endless harvest successful. You obtained golden pupil falcon crystal I times 1. You absorbed a small amount of agility origin. Agility +2. He circled several battle sites to collect 5 golden pupil falcons in total. Alongside the basic materials, crystal eyes and agility stat increases, he obtained yet another skill. You acquired first tier skill Enhanced Vision. Enhanced Vision first tier sharpens eyesight, allowing you to distinguish tiny targets within 100 meters. Slightly improves night vision. He jerked his head upward. The texture of distant leaves, insect holes on tree trunks, even a beetle crawling through grass 50 meters away stood crystal clear to him, despite the pervasive mist. Incredible. Enhanced Vision was an extremely useful ability, especially within this mist-shrouded secret realm. Lu Hao stood and curled his lips into a faint smile. By now, his total agility stat had reached 35 points. Others struggled tirelessly to hunt monsters and level up, while he did not need to lift a blade at all. He only needed to follow behind and collect the spoils. What's more, the cost was minimal, consuming merely 10 harvest energy each time. This feeling was absolutely wonderful. I need to gather as many golden pupil falcon crystal eyes as possible. All of these can be sold once we leave. They're pure profit. Soon, Lu Hao arrived at another battlefield. This was a large skirmish site littered with 8 or 9 golden pupil falcon corpses. Evidently, multiple teams had fought a flock of these falcons. The battlefield was in chaos, stained with copious blood, both beast and human. A couple of tattered pieces of equipment lay scattered across the ground. Lu Hao struck it rich once more after finishing his harvest. Just then, the sound of hurried footsteps echoed from behind him. It was Wang Xiang's team. Lu Hao? Is that you? Hatred flared in Wang Xiang's eyes. This fool actually dared to venture deep into the ferocious beast zone, Zhao Hong jeered. Young Master Wang, should we eliminate him? Li Cheng wore a cruel grin and lowered his voice. He's all alone here with no backup. Wang Xiang hesitated for a moment, quickly scanning the surrounding area. Li Cheng summoned a composite bow into his grip. He could knock an arrow and slay Lu Hao. The second Wang Xiang gave the order. Wang Xiang was just about to give the kill command when more footsteps echoed nearby. He froze abruptly. Another team emerged from the side, Lin Shuiyao's group. Besides her 3 original female teammates, a tall young man carrying a heavy shield had joined them. He must have teamed up with her later. Lin Shuiyao took in the tense standoff and immediately rushed forward, positioning herself in front of Lu Hao. Faint lightning crackled in her hands as she glared at Wang Xiang. Wang Xiang, try hurting even a single hair on his head and see what happens. Wang Xiang's expression turned rigid. Lin Shuiyao, this has nothing to do with you. Whether it involves me is not your call. This is not the Wang family's territory. You cannot run wild here. Wang Xiang's face shifted repeatedly. Dealing with Lu Hao would be simple enough. He was merely an orphan with no family or influence backing him. But Lin Shuiyao was different. Her father was war god Lin Shanchuan, a figure even the Wang clan hesitated to provoke. Picking an open fight with Lin Shuiyao here was not worth the risk. Let's go. Wang Xiang ground his teeth and led his people away. A flash of killing intent flickered deep within Lu Hao's eyes before vanishing. He silently sighed in regret. Wang Xiang sought to get rid of him, unaware that Lu Hao also intended to settle their score. Once Wang Xiang's group departed, Lin Shuiyao turned to face Lu Hao. Traveling alone within the secret realm is extremely dangerous. You could run into ferocious beasts or Wang Xiang's party at any moment. Come travel with our team. At the very least, you'll be safe. Shuiyao, that's a bad idea. One of her teammates spoke up immediately in opposition. A harvester tagging along will force us to protect him, and it will severely slow our leveling progress. Lu Hao recognized the young man, Li Yang, the son of Zhangzhou City Lord, a well-respected figure among the upper-class young elites. He was also Lin Shuiyao's fervent suitor. It came as no surprise that he had joined her team. Li Yang already held disdain for people like Lu Hao. Seeing Lin Shuiyao offer to bring him along and speak gently toward him only stoked his hostility further. He let out a cold snort. You're a harvester. You ought to know your own limitations. We can protect you for a little while, but we cannot look after you forever. Li Yang, you are free to leave the team if you object, Lin Shuiyao snapped, turning to glare at him. Li Yang's face flushed red. He said nothing more. Still, He marked Lu Hao as his enemy in his heart. The female archer stood at the rear, remaining silent the entire time. Her eyes narrowed slightly as she watched Lu Hao. This was the second time she had seen him since entering the instance. The first encounter had been at the entrance, and she had sensed something odd about him. He did not feel like a mere life professional. Now, her heart skipped a beat. Lu Hao's aura was far stronger than it had been when they entered the secret realm. Not just marginally stronger, the difference was obvious. It made no logical sense. How could this be possible? A harvester possessed no combat power and could not gain experience by hunting monsters. So how could he grow noticeably stronger in just half a day? She confirmed that he was still level 1. Suppressing her swirling doubts, she chose not to speak up. No need. Lu Hao replied calmly, his tone cool. He glanced at Lin Shuiyao, then swept his gaze over her teammates, each bearing distinct expressions. I have no interest in tagging along behind your group. With that, he turned and left without a single backward glance. Behind him, Lin Shuiyao parted her lips, yet no words escaped. Her hands clenched beneath her mage robe, then slowly relaxed. Shield-bearer Liang watched Lu Hao's retreating silhouette, a hint of triumph glinting in his eyes. Lin Shuiyao drew a deep breath and tore her gaze away, addressing the rest of her party. Let's move on. Don't waste time. Ahead lies the territory of Tier 4 ferocious beasts, blazing sack moths. Everyone stay alert. These monsters are far deadlier than the ones we've faced before. They traveled a short distance before Liang asked casually. Shuiyao, you seem to care a great deal about that Lu Hao. Did you know him before? Lin Shuiyao paused mid-step and replied coldly. Liang, I will say this one more time. You have no authority to meddle in my personal affairs. Liang forced an awkward smile. Lin Shuiyao appeared calm on the surface, yet her mind wandered. Years ago, the Lin and Lu families had been close. 2 years prior, during a secret realm expedition, every member of the Lu family perished except Lu Hao. Her own father had returned alive. Afterward, Lu Hao repeatedly visited their household, demanding her father explain what had happened. But her father refused to utter a single word. She had questioned him as well, yet he only sighed and told her nothing. She was convinced her father must have his reasons. Lu Hao must harbor resentment toward the Lin family. He probably believes my father fled and abandoned the Lu family. Just then, a red glow flared amid the thick mist ahead. It's a blazing sack moth, the archer exclaimed. Liang, marching at the front, stiffened and hastily raised his shield. A fireball hurtled toward them. Boom! The blast sent Liang staggering 3 steps backward, his blood churning. I can only withstand 3 hits at most. Lin Shuiyao pushed her distracting thoughts aside and wore a grave expression. Its attack range stretches 50 meters. My lightning spells cannot reach it. Su Wan, harass it with your arrows. Zhou Ji, find an opening to close in. The female assassin's figure blurred and vanished from sight. A second fireball arrived shortly after, slamming against Li Yang's shield. He coughed up a mouthful of blood. The party's healer quickly channeled a healing spell. Following a grueling battle, the assassin finally closed in and struck the Tier 4 beast down. The group gasped for breath as they stared at the enormous moth corpse on the ground. It attacks from range, and its fireballs deal devastating damage, Liang said, pale-faced. If the assassin hadn't closed the distance in time, I would have been in mortal danger. Liang, you cannot retreat as shield bearer from here on out. If you fall back, anyone struck by its fireballs will be gravely wounded, Lin Shuiyao warned solemnly. I understand. The shield bearer nodded, though unease gnawed at him. If that young man had joined their group, he could have taken the frontline hits instead, Liang thought maliciously. At that moment, Lu Hao had also entered the Tier 4 ferocious beast zone. Only scattered sounds of combat drifted from the distance. The other teams are progressing too slowly. Waiting to scavenge leftovers won't work long. Lu Hao shook his head. I need to hunt on my own. Fortunately, his earlier gains had elevated his strength significantly. His soaring agility meant he was fully capable of fighting independently now. His vision pierced the mist, locking onto a withered giant tree 100 meters away. A strange giant moth clung to its trunk. A faint smile tugged at Lu Hao's lips, and he walked straight toward it. He opened his status panel. Name, Lu Hao. Level, 10/1000. Strength, 10 E-tier Strength Transcendence, 2nd tier Power Strike. Agility, 35 F-tier Nimbleness, 1st tier Enhanced Vision, 1st tier Swift Stride. Spirit, 20. Vitality, 20. Class Talent, Endless Harvest. He was nothing like an ordinary life professional anymore. He already possessed the foundation of an all-rounded combat professional. Hiss. The blazing sack moth sensed Lu Hao the moment he stepped within 50 meters. It reared up, the fire sack on its abdomen blazing bright red. Its proboscis opened, and a fist-sized fireball streaked forward with an orange flame tail. It moved fast, yet enhanced vision activated. The fireball's trajectory unfolded clearly in Lu Hao's sight. He twisted his body to dodge. The fireball brushed past his shoulder and slammed into a tree behind him. Boom! A charred crater exploded into the trunk, sending wood fragments flying. Lu Hao was startled. The fireball spell was far more powerful than he had anticipated. Before the blazing sack moth could conjure a second blast, he moved. Swift stride. The ground beneath his feet cracked slightly. 35 points of agility paired with the massive movement speed boost turned him into a low-flying arrow tearing through the mist, charging straight for the dead tree. The moth's compound eyes flickered frantically. It never anticipated its visitor would possess such terrifying speed. Fear of death washed over it. It beat its wings furiously, attempting to take flight and create distance. But lifting off required a split second of preparation, and that single second sealed its fate. Lu Hao channeled all his strength into his right fist, surging scorching internal energy to his knuckles. Power strike. Fourfold strength amplification. Die. His fist slammed into the moth's unprotected abdomen. Squelch. The fire sac ruptured, glowing bodily fluid splattering everywhere. The giant moth was driven deep into the tree trunk. Its wings twitched once, then fell still. A faint wisp of soft light rose from the corpse and flowed into Lu Hao's body. Tier 4 blazing sack moth slain. Plus 40 experience gained. Warmth spread through his frame, and he glanced at his level stat. Level 140/1000. He slowly lowered his fist. A one-hit kill. Against a ranged attacker that burst fireballs yet crumbled when engaged up close. A single punch was all it took. Of course, that only applied to him. He knelt and placed his palm on the moth's remains. Endless harvest. Light shimmered. Endless harvest successful. You obtained blazing sack moth fire sack ×1. Spirit +2. You acquired F-tier elemental talent. Fire elemental attunement. Fire elemental attunement F-tier. Grants faint perception of fire elements. Unlocks access to first-tier fire spells. Lu Hao's pupils widened. An elemental talent. With this, he could learn fire magic. Excellent. Truly excellent. Lu Hao took a deep breath to contain his excitement. He suspected that the upper limit of the endless harvest system far exceeded what he had imagined. Lu Hao scanned his surroundings. Cutting through the dense mist, he soon spotted two more faint orange glows. Let's continue. This time, two blazing sack moths perched on the same tree. Fighting two at once was considerably more challenging. He lightened his footsteps and circled to the flank, crossing the 50-meter threshold. Both moths detected him almost simultaneously. The distance was perfect. Swift stride. His figure blurred in an instant. Two fireballs sailed past him from behind. Uffed. Lu Hao punched the blazing sack moth on the left, crushing it instantly. At the same time, he kicked the branch, using the recoil to surge toward the second moth at even greater speed. Another punch landed. The second beast fell. The exchange happened in the blink of an eye, swift and explosive. Lu Hao's gaze settled on the two moth corpses, and he reached out to activate Endless Harvest. Light flickered over the first carcass. You obtained blazing sack moth fire sack ×1. Spirit +2. Brilliant white light erupted from the second. Spirit +2. You acquired first-tier fire spell, Fireball. Fireball first tier. Condense fire elements to form a single target fireball. Base damage, 50+ spirit bonus. Consumes 10 energy. Cooldown, 2 seconds. Lu Hao's heart skipped a beat. Fireball. Would its power match the fireballs unleashed by the blazing sack moths? Lu Hao stretched out his left hand. The next instant, countless tiny red light motes in the air began converging toward his palm. These were free fire elements drifting in the atmosphere. As if answering a summons, they swarmed over from all directions and coalesced above Lu Hao's palm in the blink of an eye. A fist-sized fireball materialized out of nowhere. Its body burned bright crimson, flames surging across its surface and radiating scorching heat. Go! The fireball whistled forward and slammed into a thigh-thick tree 10 meters away. Boom! The entire tree was blown to splinters. Lu Hao nodded. The power of his fireball far surpassed that of the fireballs unleashed by flame moths. This was tied to the caster's spirit attribute. Unfortunately, it was merely a single-target spell. But then again, he flipped his left hand, and another fireball formed with a whoosh. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lu Hao conjured 3 fireballs in succession. Its 2-second cooldown was practically negligible. Even his classmates who practiced fire magic, those who had learned Fireball, would never dare cast it non-stop like this. The stamina drain was far too heavy. Each fireball cost 10 stamina. 10 casts would consume 100 stamina, an expenditure even peak-tier mages could not sustain. Lu Hao, however, was different. He possessed the Endless Harvest system. Running low on stamina? Just spend money to replenish it. 1 yuan bought 1 point of stamina. A single fireball cost 10 yuan. He still held more than 9,000 yuan on him, enough for 900 fireballs. A sustained bombardment of 900 fireballs would reduce even grade 3 or 4 ferocious beasts to ashes, not to mention grade 2 ones. Infinite mana. A smirk tugged at the corner of Lu Hao's mouth. This is my true advantage. Of course, he would not waste his resources recklessly right now. He needed to budget his stamina carefully, saving most of it to activate Endless Harvest. After all, he was still short on funds. Half an hour earlier, he had only been a warrior who relied on his fists for close combat. Now he could unleash ranged spells just like a fire mage. No one would have believed this was possible just one day prior. After walking a short distance, Lu Hao spotted another flame moth. This time, he did not charge forward to slay it with Power Strike. He wanted to test his newly mastered fireball. Before the flame moth could react, he extended his left hand, and a fireball swiftly took shape in his palm. Whoosh! A fireball shot forth from afar. Boom! It incinerated the flame moth outright. Lu Hao stared in slight disbelief. Was this the flame moth, the nightmare of new explorers? It was far too easy to defeat now. He activated Endless Harvest afterward. Surprisingly, this fifth flame moth dropped another F talent, Fire Element Perception. Joy surged through Lu Hao. Synthesize. Synthesis successful. You have obtained E talent, Fire Element Affinity. Fire Element Affinity E tier. Fire spell effectiveness increased by 100. Fire Element Gathering Speed enhanced. Perfect. With his talent upgraded and his spirit attribute now at 30 points, the might of his fireballs rose drastically, making his destructive power even more terrifying. Shortly afterward, as Lu Hao wandered through the woods and encountered more flame moths, he hesitated to use fireball. Each fireball consumed 10 stamina, equivalent to 10 yuan. The funds he reserved were primarily meant for harvesting. If he wasted too much currency on monster hunting, effective as it was, he might run out of money long before the secret realm closed. He had to manage his resources prudently. He would rely on his fists whenever the battle was not overly dangerous. Fortunately, his fists and Power Strike were formidable. Though exhausting to use, every fight honed his combat techniques further. Striking accurately and eliminating foes efficiently, he defeated roughly 20 flame moths soon after. A glow of level up enveloped his body. Level 2 October 2000. Distributable attribute points 5. He leveled up. For everyone else, those 5 attribute points represented a major boost to their strength. To Lu Hao, they were insignificant, so he chose not to allocate them for the time being. He also noticed that every level up added 10 extra basic storage slots to his original 10. He could now carry far more items. Levels carried immense importance. They were a prerequisite for comprehending and learning skills, a requirement to equip certain gear, and a key marker of personal growth. He pressed onward, clearing every flame moth crossing his path. Another 50 fell to him over the next half hour, and soft light flickered once more. Level 310/3000. He gained another 5 free attribute points and 10 more storage slots. Suddenly, Lu Hao froze. A sharp sense of peril washed over him. Perched on an ancient withered tree trunk wide enough for several people to link arms around was an enormous flame moth. It was over 3 times the size of ordinary moths. Dark orange wings were crisscrossed with blood-red veins, twisted and ferocious like exposed blood vessels. Its aura was fierce and overwhelming. Elite flame moth. Lu Hao then spotted more than a dozen regular flame moths surrounding the elite. One elite backed by a squad of guardians, a pack of fire-aligned ferocious beasts. Lu Hao had accidentally trespassed into their territory. He held his breath, ready to step back. At that very moment, hiss. The elite moth's compound eyes snapped toward him. It had sensed his presence. Simultaneously, the more than 10 ordinary flame moths all turned their heads to stare. In an instant, over a dozen fireballs began forming in their maws. Bring it on. Lu Hao narrowed his eyes. If retreat is impossible, we fight. Let us see who survives. His body shot toward the side like an arrow loosed from a bow. Boom, 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 boom. 7 or 8 fireballs crashed into the spot where he had stood, blasting a half-meter deep charred crater into the ground and sending dirt flying. Lu Hao had already closed the distance to less than 30 meters. Just then, whoosh, a fireball twice the size of the others hurtled toward him, more than twice as fast as the rest. Lu Hao's gaze sharpened. He leaped sideways and rolled to evade. A deafening crash shook the area. Stones and dirt sprayed outward, and sparks washed over him. Fast as his reaction was, a few embers landed on his clothes, burning several holes through the fabric. This was no ordinary fireball. Alarm flashed through Lu Hao's mind. Upon impact, the massive fireball detonated like a bomb. His momentary carelessness had nearly gotten him injured. Thankfully, his high agility allowed him to dodge swiftly. Lu Hao had no time to ponder further. He needed to eliminate the elite and its retinue as quickly as possible. If the fight dragged on, misfortune would strike. Swift steps. Lu Hao sprinted sideways, quickly conjuring a fireball in his left palm. Boom. The fireball struck an ordinary flame moth, incinerating it instantly. At the same time, he darted beside another moth and threw a power strike with his fist, blowing it apart. Crack. The moth exploded on impact. He was thoroughly practiced at dispatching regular flame moths. The elite moth had not anticipated Lu Hao slaying two guardians in quick succession. It screeched in unbridled rage. The surrounding moth guardians grew frantic at the shriek, firing fireballs at Lu Hao from every direction. Most new explorers would be instantly overwhelmed by such concentrated fire. Lu Hao, however, was a changed man. High agility paired with ranged fireball and melee power strike made him deadly. His figure weaved left and right, darting up and down. The moth's fireballs could not lock onto him. Lu Hao continuously formed fireballs in his left hand, launching them in a relentless barrage. Several times his stamina drained completely, yet he instantly refilled it by spending money. Only he possessed such resources. Any other fighter would have long run out of energy and become helpless. In less than a minute, all more than a dozen ordinary moths lay dead, felled by his fireballs and iron fists. The elite moth kept launching its enhanced massive fireball at Lu Hao nonstop. Now that Lu Hao understood its destructive power, he would never let it land. He moved as fast as a galloping steed. Boom. One of Lu Hao's fireballs hit the elite flame moth. Almost simultaneously, his right fist crashed into its body. Smack. The elite moth let out a shrill wail, tumbled off the trunk and crashed onto the ground, motionless. You have slain grade 4 elite flame moth. Earned 160 experience points. Lu Hao walked over to the elite moth's corpse. He had reached the harvest limit for regular moths. Perhaps the elite would drop something valuable? He stretched out his hand, and a faint light emerged. Endless harvest successful. You obtained Flame Moth Fire Sack ×1. Spirit Attribute +3. You obtained second tier fire spell, Explosive Fireball. Explosive Fireball second tier. Gather fire elements to form an explosive fireball for ranged attacks. Detonation creates a blast with a 10-meter radius. Costs 20 stamina, 2-second cooldown. Lu Hao's eyes widened. Explosive Fireball. A second-tier area of effect spell. Its 10-meter blast radius made it a devastating group attack skill, with merely a 2-second cooldown. Detected host has learned second-tier spell Explosive Fireball. First-tier Fireball automatically replaced. Lu Hao was overjoyed. He never expected the elite moth to drop this advanced upgraded spell. Second-tier spells were vastly superior to first-tier ones. Even someone as talented as Lin Shuiyao could barely comprehend second-tier spells below level 10. What was more, Explosive Fireball counted among the most powerful second-tier spells available. Over the next half hour, Lu Hao practiced relentlessly to master Explosive Fireball. His hunting efficiency skyrocketed. By the time he reached the edge of the moth forest, he had killed another 50 moths. Level 340/3000. The experience required for each level continued to rise. Yet Lu Hao's efficiency only climbed higher, his strength growing at an astonishing rate. If money were no object, he could unleash Explosive Fireball without restraint and multiply his hunting speed several times over. Even so, his progress far outpaced every 5-person team active in the Secret Realm. Teams began filtering into the Flame Moth Woods one after another, and the sounds of combat echoed everywhere. Most students were only level 1 or 2. The strongest squads had merely reached level 3. Lu Hao had let them gain a head start for hours, and now he had caught up. Outside, the time edged toward late afternoon. The mist within the misty plains thickened gradually. Inside the Secret Realm, the density of mist shifted alongside daylight, signaling the arrival of dusk. He stepped out of the woods and headed toward the territory of grade 5 ferocious beasts. The air grew heavy, and fog swirled thicker. He had walked barely 200 meters when Lu Hao halted abruptly. Enhanced vision allowed him to catch an unusual glimmer amid the dense mist. Up ahead, beside the roots of a dead tree, grew a silvery white herb half a person tall. lined with needle-like leaves glowing with faint luminescence. A spirit herb. Lu Hao's heart skipped a beat. This was no ordinary wild weed. It was genuine spirit vegetation grown in places saturated with spiritual energy. One of his primary goals for entering the secret realm. He suspected all spirit herbs in the grade 1 to 4 beast zones had already been picked by earlier explorers. Whoever moves first reaps the rewards. Trailing behind means finding nothing. He hurried forward and knelt down to examine it closely. This is silver needle spirit herb. When he had worked for Old Wu, he learned to identify many varieties of spirit herbs. Lu Hao knelt and placed his hand upon the plant. Endless harvest activated, faint light flickering. Endless harvest successful. You obtained refined silver needle herb essence times 1 perfect grade, spirit attribute, +3. A cool surge of energy rushed straight to his mind. A small cluster of emerald green essence materialized in his palm, pure and translucent, releasing a herbal fragrance 10 times richer than regular plant extracts. Perfect essence. Lu Hao took a deep breath. People said harvesters were useless? A faint smile curved his lips. While he had collected beast materials before, hides and similar spoils paled in comparison to spirit herbs. They could only be crafted into low-grade goods with limited value. Among low-tier crafted products, potions offered the best return. He carefully stored the essence in his storage slot and continued forward. He had not traveled far when low growls echoed ahead. A gray-black ferocious beast roughly the size of a medium hound emerged from the bushes, twitching its nose. Grade 5 ferocious beast, scent hound. It caught Lu Hao's scent, bared its fangs, and charged forward with murderous intent. Lu Hao's gaze turned cold. Instead of retreating, he advanced. Power strike. Fourfold strength. He drove his fist straight into the hound's skull. Crack. The dull sound of shattering bone rang out. The scent hound yelped and flew several meters away like a tattered sack. Lu Hao pursued instantly. Before it hit the ground, he was already beside it. Several more punches landed. His combination of high strength and agility granted him explosive power in combat. He fought like a human ferocious beast. The scent hound twitched a few times and fell still. Slaying grade 5 scent hound. Earned 50 experience points. Lu Hao stepped forward and rested his hand on the corpse. You obtained scent hound olfactory sac times 1, strength attribute, +2. He kept moving onward, hunting beasts while searching for spirit herbs. Soon, he spotted a cluster of dark red mushrooms growing in damp humus. Their caps dotted with tiny glowing specks. Glowshroom, first-tier spirit herb. Harvesting yielded another portion of glowshroom essence and an additional 3 vitality attribute points. Several kilometers behind Lu Hao, on the border of the grade 5 beast zone, teams struggled desperately to fight off scent hounds. Meanwhile, Lu Hao had roamed this area for nearly an hour, discovering 5 spirit herbs and boosting his attributes considerably. In addition to 5 batches of herbal essence, he gained 9 spirit points and 6 vitality points. 2 pleasant surprises awaited him. First, after slaying more than 60 scent hounds, he advanced to level 40/4000. Second, he harvested a first-tier passive skill from one of the hounds, Enhanced Smell. Enhanced Smell First Tier greatly heightens olfactory sensitivity, enabling detection of subtle scent differences. This skill was just as valuable as Enhanced Vision. Amid thick mist, Smell could detect ferocious beasts and spirit herbs far earlier than sight. With Enhanced Smell, I can pick up traces of spirit herbs and beasts well before anyone following behind me. Lu Hao rejoiced inwardly. Outside, night drew near. Within the secret realm, visibility dropped below 20 meters even with Enhanced Vision. According to school guidelines, students ought to retreat and set up camp by this hour. Sure enough, the students behind him were gathering together, building defenses and lighting campfires. Lu Hao thought it was still too early and resolved to venture deeper for a while longer. This novice secret realm had been nurtured by official forces for a full year before opening. Once spirit herbs were picked, they were gone forever. All of them should belong to him. Another hour passed. Lu Hao lost track of how many scent hounds he eliminated. Faint light washed over him once again. Level 50/5000. Just then, Lu Hao realized he was lost. Thick fog limited visibility to less than 10 meters. He now relied mostly on his sense of smell to orient himself. He was considering turning back. Suddenly, he twitched his nose. A faint yet remarkably potent aroma of spirit vegetation drifted on the air. What could release such dense spiritual energy? He was stunned. Could there be a spirit herb king? Vision was of little use now. He cautiously advanced, following the scent. After roughly 15 minutes, Lu Hao arrived at a valley. The valley was not deep, spanning about 200 meters. ending at a sheer stone wall with no path forward. Strange. The scent lingers, yet there is nowhere to go ahead. Where is it coming from? He scanned his surroundings. It appeared to be an ordinary valley with nothing hidden in plain sight. He began contemplating retreating. Night had fallen, and he had traveled extremely far. He might well have wandered into the Grade 7 ferocious beast zone. With visibility nearly non-existent, the risks surged, and Lu Hao was unwilling to take unnecessary chances. His gaze then fell on vines crawling across the stone cliff to his left. Over there. He pushed the vines aside. Once cleared away, a human-sized cave entrance was revealed, pitch black within. His pupils constricted sharply. A hidden cave? As he leaned forward to peer inside, surging waves of dense spiritual energy washed over his face. His heart raced. A place like this must nurture extraordinary spirit herbs. Without enhanced vision and enhanced smell, this cave would be impossible to discover. The scent originates from within. He hesitated briefly, then stepped inside. He weighed the risks. With his current strength, he ought to handle any ferocious beasts lurking within. He could not pass up a location exuding such rich spiritual energy. Inside the cave, fog vanished despite the darkness. Thanks to enhanced vision, he could see more clearly underground than above ground. The stone passage sloped steadily downward. Lu Hao remained on high alert, ready for beast ambushes. Tap, tap, tap. Only his footsteps echoed through the shadowy cavern. After 10 minutes of traveling 200 to 300 meters deeper, roughly 100 meters beneath the surface, the tunnel abruptly opened up. A vast cavern stretched out before him. Lu Hao's eyes widened in shock. He stared at the scene, utterly dumbfounded. Before him lay a stone cavern large enough to hold 1,000 people. Underground grottos such as this were not unheard of, but dotting the stone walls all around the cavern were countless pinpricks of luminescence. At first glance, it resembled a sky full of stars. Luminescence. Anyone hunting spirit herbs like Lu Hao knew exactly what that signified. Could all of these be spirit herbs? If they really are, there must be hundreds, even thousands of them here. Lu Hao murmured after a long pause. It was almost unbelievable. Outside, he had spent over 2 hours searching to find merely 5 spirit herbs. Lu Hao moved carefully toward the stone wall for a closer look. Amid the faint luminescence grew mats of moss-like vegetation. Each clump was woven from countless hair-thin filaments, clinging tightly to stone walls, covering the ground, or hanging upside down from stalactites. It resembled a velvet carpet dyed emerald green streaked with pale, ethereal white fluorescence. From afar, it looked like a river of stars spilling down to earth. Up close, it resembled swarms of miniature fireflies huddled together. Soul glow moss. That's it. He had seen it once while working odd jobs for Old Wu. It was a primary ingredient used to craft basic stamina potions. Though only a Tier 1 spirit herb and not considered exceptionally rare, it was incredibly valuable. Stamina potions, even the basic variant, were always in high demand and treated as solid currency. Lu Hao was utterly stunned. These were genuine spirit herbs, without a shadow of doubt. What truly boggled the mind was their sheer quantity. I've struck it rich. Lu Hao's heart thundered wildly in his chest. This was an unexpected fortune dropped right at his feet. The Misty Plains secret realm opened for several days each year to host new recruits' job advancement trials. This cavern, however, had likely remained undiscovered by students for countless years. Only after such a long period of undisturbed growth could so much soul glow moss flourish here. Then again, it was hardly surprising. If his vision and olfactory senses hadn't been enhanced, he would never have spotted it either. Regardless, all of this now belonged to him. Lu Hao took a deep breath, calming his surging excitement. He did not rush to gather immediately. Instead, he cautiously sensed every corner of the cavern. Before harvesting, he needed to confirm there was no danger lurking. Fortunately, the cavern was deathly silent. Apart from the countless pinpricks of starlight, it might as well have been a lifeless void. Boundless harvest. A faint glimmer flickered. Boundless harvest successful. You obtained perfect soul glow moss essence ×1, spirit +3. Excellent. It boosts spirit, which will amplify the power of explosive fireball. Lu Hao rejoiced. After harvesting 5 clumps with boundless harvest, he gained another 12 spirit points. Subsequent harvests yielded no further attribute increases, yet vial upon vial of perfect soul glow moss essence continued to fill his storage. He paused to rest after gathering more than 100 portions of the moss. This was merely a small section of the cavern. The entire cave was stuffed with treasures. A rough estimate placed the total number of soul glow moss clumps at no fewer than several hundred, possibly nearing 1,000. Outside the cavern, Each single clump was coveted by countless adventurers. There was far too much to gather all at once. He pulled open his status panel. His attributes, talents, and skills had climbed to an outrageous level. Name, Lu Hao. Level, 5240/5000. Attributes, Strength 20, Dexterity 35, Spirit 42, Constitution 26. Unallocated attribute points, 20, Class Talent, Boundless Harvest. Strength Talent, Strength Surge Grade E Skill, Power Strike Tier 2. Dexterity Talent, Agility Grade F Skills, Swift Stride Tier 1, Enhanced Eyesight Tier 1, Enhanced Olfaction Tier 1. Spirit Talent, Fire Element Affinity Grade E Skill, Explosive Fireball Tier 2. Phew. Lu Hao let out a long breath upon reading the panel. Outrageous barely begins to describe how strong I've become. Even against fully grown combat professionals out there, I stand a solid chance. A warrior who can wield spells, who would anticipate that? Enemies will be completely caught off guard when we clash. He tallied up his collected materials next. Slaying vicious beasts had granted him various hides, fire sacks, crystal eyes, and other drops. Yet these items held little worth. They were merely loot from beasts ranging from level 1 to 5. The truly valuable goods were the 5 spirit herbs he had collected earlier, alongside the vast beds of soul glow moss filling the cavern. Old Wu had paid him over 100 yuan for ordinary wild plants, so these perfect essences ought to fetch several hundred apiece. If he harvested all the soul glow moss here, he would easily earn hundreds of thousands of yuan. I'm claiming every last bit. Once rested, Lu Hao surged forward and began harvesting frantically. Vial after vial of essence carrying a faint herbal fragrance entered his possession. Meanwhile, on an open stretch of flat land, multiple camps had been erected, divided according to each school. Bonfires burned in every camp, ringed with seated students. Weariness etched every student's face. Many bore wounds and were tending to their injuries. I never imagined vicious beasts within this beginner secret realm would prove so tough to fight. One student sighed bitterly, displaying a claw wound over 20 centimeters long on his right arm. Tell me about it. Our 5-man squad must tread carefully every step, draw the attention of a few extra beasts, and we're forced to flee. Sigh. I've burned through 80% of my stamina potions. I have no idea how I'll survive the next 2 days. Scenes like this unfolded within every squad. Everyone was physically and mentally drained, their potion supplies nearly exhausted. For mage-type professions in particular, running out of stamina potions left them effectively powerless. Many had recklessly unleashed spells at the start of monster hunting, draining their stamina reserves in one go. Camp of number 3 high school. 21 students from our school are unaccounted for. A school official counted the heads. They must have activated emergency teleportation and left the secret realm after running into mortal danger. Though he spoke as such, everyone knew some might have perished before they could trigger teleportation. Either outcome was tragic. Those forced to teleport out early would miss out on opportunities to raise their levels and hone combat skills. They would inevitably fall behind in the upcoming National Martial Arts examination. As for anyone slain by beasts, their lives had been cut short entirely. That gatherer Lu Hao is missing too. Someone suddenly called out. What else can we assume? Either he's become beast fodder, or he teleported out early to save himself. A waste who doesn't even possess a combat talent. It was foolish of him to enter the secret realm. His fate is of his own making. Even combat professionals struggle to survive here. His venture into this place is nothing short of a joke. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, most filled with scorn. Several students who were having a difficult time felt a twinge of schadenfreude comparing themselves to Lu Hao. Wang Xiang leaned beside the bonfire and sneered. It's for the best if he's dead. Saves me the trouble of dealing with him. A corpse has no right to claim the preferential admission quota reserved for martyrs' families. Young Master Wang, you hit level 4 on the very first day of the Secret Realm trial. Undisputed top of all participants. Zhao Hong hastened to flatter him. Li Cheng quickly chimed in. Young Master Wang already has 40 points. Admission to Qingbei Martial Arts University is guaranteed. You will surely grow into a powerful leader guarding territory someday. The bonfire crackled as students surrounded Wang Xiang, showering him with compliments. Wang Xiang wore an aloof expression, yet immense satisfaction welled up inside him. With these 40 points, he would easily outrank Lin Shuiyao. Admission to Qingbei would open the path for him to become a new war god, securing the Wang clan's prosperity for at least 30 years. As Wang Xiang indulged in visions of his future, a voice suddenly rose. Look, someone's coming back from the front. It looks like Lu Hao. Heads turned. Through thick mist, a figure strode toward the camp. It was none other than Lu Hao. Good heavens. He survived alone out there for so long. Notice this. He's coming from the deeper beast territory. Does that mean he ventured into the dangerous zone all by himself? Students whispered among themselves. They had all assumed he was dead, and seeing him return alive filled them with shock and disbelief. When Wang Xiang laid eyes on Lu Hao, his face darkened instantly. Lu Hao's reappearance was like a slap across his face, shattering all his fantasies. He nearly jumped to his feet, ready to charge forward and tear Lu Hao apart. Yet thousands of eyes watched the camp. Open violence was impossible. I should have set an ambush ahead to kill him, he seethed silently. Lu Hao entered the camp, ignoring all stares, and settled down in a shadowy corner. Deep inside the cavern, he had harvested a total of 805 clumps of soul glow moss. Even he was stunned by the number. It was a windfall far beyond anything he could have imagined before entering the secret realm. Once the trial concluded, selling all of it would earn him a massive sum of money. But one serious problem remained. The 10,000 yuan he had brought into the secret realm was almost gone. Soon, he might not even have enough funds to activate Boundless Harvest. He had mulled over options on the walk back. His first thought was to teleport out early and end the trial ahead of schedule. Yet it felt like a waste. He still wanted to gather more spirit herbs, unlock new talents, and level up. Then a second plan occurred to him. He held plenty of raw materials for basic stamina potions. If he collected ordinary wild plants as auxiliary ingredients, he could brew the potions himself. He had performed this task countless times during his employment with Old Wu. Crafting basic stamina potions was straightforward. One portion of soul glow moss paired with select wild vegetation formed the base mixture. Stabilizing crystal salts were normally required as well, but he had no need for long-term storage. He planned to use all the potions by the next day. Even without proper alchemical tools, the finished product would lose some potency, yet still remain functional. After careful consideration, Lu Hao resolved to stay. On his way back, he had gathered wild grasses to extract plant fluid for auxiliary use. Sizzle. After resting and eating a hard loaf of bread, Lu Hao began brewing makeshift stamina potions. He poured a vial of soul glow moss essence into an empty bottle, added the auxiliary plant fluid in the correct ratio, and gently shook the vessel to activate the essence's vitality. As the mixture swirled, it turned into a uniform pale blue liquid, clear and translucent, releasing a rich herbal aroma. Before long, he had produced one vial of basic potion. He tilted his head back and drank it. He immediately felt his stamina regenerating rapidly. Roughly 5 minutes later, he recovered around 100 stamina points. It works, he nodded. If I brew roughly 100 bottles, that will give me 10,000 stamina points, barely enough for monster hunting and harvesting for the remainder of the trial. He had just begun preparing the second potion when a voice called beside him. Lu Hao, what are you making? It was Zhao Dapeng. The two had shared a desk for half a semester, yet rarely spoken to each other. Their combined conversations numbered fewer than 30 sentences. To others, Lu Hao came across as withdrawn. After classes ended, he rushed off to work. Zhao Dapeng, son of a newly wealthy family, spent his nights frequenting entertainment venues and slept through most school hours. When they first became desk mates, Zhao Dapeng had acted like a boss, inviting Lu Hao to join him for outings. Lu Hao declined coldly every time. After several rejections, Zhao Dapeng understood they inhabited entirely different worlds. Naturally, Lu Hao, struggling to scrape by to survive, had no interest in Zhao Dapeng's lavish social circle. Their relationship was neutral at best, two parallel lines that never crossed. Zhao Dapeng's awakened class after advancement was Grade B Necromancer Summoner. Lu Hao kept mixing his potion and replied flatly without lifting his head, crafting basic stamina restorative potions. Whoa, Lu Hao, that's incredible, Zhao Dapeng exclaimed. Do you have any idea how badly thousands of students inside this secret realm need these right now? Zhao Dapeng squatted beside him, watching Lu Hao's practiced movements. Suspicion melted into astonishment. Lu Hao, you actually know how to brew potions. Lu Hao shot him a glance and said nothing. Privately, he thought this was nothing remarkable. Years of balancing school and part-time labor had been a period of hardship, yet they had taught him a wide range of practical skills. Something Zhao Dapeng, who wasted his days indulging in leisure, could never match. What others dismissed as his painful past was simply the path he had walked to get here. Zhao Dapeng observed for a long while, then said longingly, Old deskmate, can you spare a few bottles for me? I've run out of stamina potions too. Monster hunting drains stamina far faster than I expected. Lu Hao did not look up. After a few seconds, he replied calmly, I can, but they cost money. Zhao Dapeng brightened, slapping his thigh. I'll take 10 bottles. Money isn't an issue. How much per bottle? Basic stamina potions normally sold for 600 yuan each in shops outside. His makeshift brew relied on perfect essence, yet its potency would at best match commercial versions, possibly falling slightly short. Inside the secret realm, however, stamina potions were impossible to buy no matter how much money you offered. Most importantly, he had little desire to set up a stall and sell widely. 1,000 yuan per bottle, Lu Hao stated without hesitation. 1,000? No problem. Zhao Dapeng did not blink an eye. He pulled out a stack of cash, counted out 10,000 yuan, and handed it to Lu Hao. Lu Hao was slightly taken aback by how readily Zhao Dapeng agreed. He passed over 10 bottles of potion. Once the transaction finished, Lu Hao resumed brewing. A short time later, he glanced up and saw Zhao Dapeng still squatting nearby. Why are you still here? Zhao Dapeng rubbed his hands together. Lu Hao, have you considered selling more of these? This could be a lucrative business. Lu Hao pondered. Each potion he consumed restored 100 stamina points. If he sold potions for cash, he could use that money to purchase what he needed rather than consume the essences himself. Selling one bottle for 1,000 yuan effectively meant he could gain 1,000 stamina points worth of resources without any cooldown. Even so, Lu Hao had no wish to attract attention by hawking potions openly. He shook his head. Zhao Dapeng grinned. I know you aren't comfortable dealing with crowds. Leave all sales to me. I'll buy from you at 1,000 yuan a bottle, and any profit I make on resale is mine. What do you say? Suit yourself. Lu Hao responded indifferently. Wait and see what I can do. Zhao Dapeng left carrying 30 freshly brewed potions from Lu Hao. Around 10 minutes later, he returned. How good, they're all sold out. You can't imagine how frantic everyone is to buy them. How many more potions do you have ready? Zhao Dapeng's face shone with excitement. Here's 30,000 yuan for you. Now that Lu Hao was his supplier, he had dropped Lu Hao's full name and addressed him respectfully as Hao Ge. His merchant instincts were on full display. I have 50 bottles here you can take to sell. But I have one condition. Name it, Hao Ge. Lu Hao glanced toward Wang Xiang's position. You may sell to anyone, just not to Wang Xiang's team. A flicker of hesitation crossed Zhao Dapeng's face. In his mind, business came first. Money from rivals was still money. Moreover, refusing to sell risked angering Wang Xiang, who he had noticed also intended to purchase potions. He hesitated briefly, then nodded firmly. Understood. I'll follow your rule. With that, he grabbed the potions and rushed off again. Word spread quickly after the first batch of stamina potions sold. When Zhao Dapeng returned with the second batch, crowds swarmed around him. 1,500 a bottle? You're ripping us off. A short-haired girl frowned at the price. Take it or leave it. Get in line. Zhao Dapeng planted his hands on his hips with a smug grin. He marked up the price far more than Lu Hao. He bought each bottle for 1,000 yuan and resold for 1,500, pocketing a 500 yuan profit per bottle. He had no fear of failing to sell. He knew full well that participants would pay inflated prices to secure better results during the secret realm trial. Hey, if she won't buy, I will. Give me 5 bottles. I want 10 bottles. You promised to reserve some for me. Queue up. Stop pushing. It's my turn next. Many waved cash and pressed forward. The short-haired girl was nearly knocked over in the scramble. Amid the chaos, Lin Shuiyao walked over with her squad. 20 bottles. The female priest handed 2 stacks of cash to Zhao Dapeng. Zhao Dapeng passed her 20 bottles without delay. Spotting Lin Shuiyao standing at the back of the crowd, an idea occurred to him, and he added an extra bottle. A small complimentary gift for Goddess Lin. He had long sought a chance to build a connection with a top-tier talent like Lin Shuiyao, and minor gestures such as this were perfect opportunities. Lin Shuiyao nodded toward him from the crowd. A brash voice suddenly cut through the noise. Zhao Dapeng, I'll buy all remaining stock you have. It was Li Cheng and Zhao Hong, 2 of Wang Xiang's followers, acting on their superior's orders. Zhao Dapeng looked at Li Cheng, who clutched cash in hand, and shook his head. Sorry, I'm not selling to you. Every gaze instantly shifted to Li Cheng. His face turned livid with rage. What do you mean, Zhao Dapeng? Zhao Hong pointed an accusing finger. You're just the son of a newly rich family. How dare you oppose young Master Wang? Mark my words, you'll face consequences once we exit the secret realm. Zhao Dapeng sneered. Don't think you can intimidate me by invoking young Master Wang. I'm not easily frightened. Li Cheng and Zhao Hong left empty-handed, burning with anger, and returned to Wang Xiang's side. The 3 huddled together and exchanged hushed words. After listening, Wang Xiang kicked over the bonfire before him. Sparks sprayed everywhere, and nearby students scrambled to move out of the way. He gritted his teeth, his gaze like venomous snakes fixed on Lu Hao and Zhao Dapeng's location. words squeezed slowly from between his teeth. That mongrel Lu Hao and Zhao Daping, that upstart's lackey. How dare they cross me? Who do they think they are? Zhao Hong spoke beside him. Lu Hao must have ordered this. Zhao Daping would never dare defy us otherwise. Wang Xiang nodded coldly. Li Cheng, track Lu Hao from dawn tomorrow. The moment he leaves camp, follow and eliminate him. Afterwards, dump his body among the beasts. Make sure no evidence remains. I refuse to let this worthless nobody jeopardize my admission to Qingbei Martial Arts University. It will be done, young Master Wang. Li Cheng harbored deep resentment toward Lu Hao already. Over the next hour or so, Lu Hao brewed basic energy potions one batch after another. Zhao Daping dashed back and forth between the various camps like a gust of wind, returning each time with a flushed, excited face. When they tallied up the final count, 200 bottles had been sold in total. Brother Hao, and this is only the first day? Energy potions will be in even higher demand tomorrow. I reckon we could easily sell 500 or 600 bottles. Lu Hao was capable of crafting 500 bottles, yet he showed little enthusiasm and offered no reply. Lu Hao earned 200,000, and Zhao Daping, the middleman, cleared 100,000 in profit as well. Zhao Daping grinned and edged closer. Brother Hao, how about I transfer 50,000 of my 100,000 over to you? Lu Hao waved his hand. You earned that through your own efforts. All right then. Zhao Daping did not stand on ceremony. I'll keep the money for myself. Zhao Daping's father was a self-made tycoon, an extremely shrewd businessman who'd amassed a fortune. Clearly, Zhao Daping had inherited his father's instincts. He had a knack for spotting business opportunities and striking it rich. He was not well educated and had awakened the weak ranger class, but he possessed an innate eye for commerce. There was no doubt he had natural talent in this field. Lu Hao suddenly looked at Zhao Daping with a faint, knowing smile. Daping, this little venture only nets 100,000. You've ended up making an enemy of Wang Xiang over it. That doesn't fit the profile of a profit-driven businessman. Don't you think the trade-off is hardly worthwhile? TCH, Wang Xiang pushed you far too hard. Trying to seize what belongs to others out in the open, that's nothing short of banditry. I've long grown tired of watching his antics, Zhao Daping denounced. Is that so? Lu Hao shot him a casual glance, his tone calm. He did not believe Zhao Daping was suddenly overcome with a strong sense of justice. Zhao Daping rubbed his hands together before speaking earnestly. I'll be honest. Everyone thinks Wang Xiang is powerful, but I've got higher hopes for you, Brother Hao. You can gather materials and craft potions. I'm going to need your support down the line. Lu Hao studied Zhao Daping. Though the young man wore a playful grin, a glint of sharp insight flickered deep in his eyes. He was certain Zhao Daping could not uncover his secrets. It was simply that the boy possessed sharp intuition and an uncommon vision. Zhao Daping sat down beside Lu Hao and lowered his voice. Brother Hao, Wang Xiang harbors ill will toward you. You need to be careful. Lu Hao replied faintly, then lay back down on the grass. Zhao Daping rambled on for a while longer. Seeing Lu Hao had no desire to keep talking, he tactfully took his leave. Night fell. Dense fog clung thickly all around the camp, wrapping the entire encampment in its shroud. The campfire crackled and popped. Most students had crawled into their sleeping bags and drifted off to sleep. The grueling battles of the first day had drained every last bit of their stamina. We'll need to change our approach to combat tomorrow, Lu Hao thought to himself as he rested in a quiet corner. When he first entered the secret realm that morning, he'd only had 10,000 yuan on him. Worried about running low on energy, he'd fought cautiously, hesitant to cast Fireball without good reason. Now he held 200,000 yuan. Tomorrow, a slight smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth. He could sweep across the entire secret realm. Early the next morning, as the mist slowly thinned, teams checked their supplies and prepared for another day of fighting. Lu Hao set off alone, stepping straight into the fog without hesitation. Before entering the secret realm yesterday, his primary goals had been to collect beast carcasses to boost his attributes and unlock new talents, and ideally gather spirit herbs to fund his future needs. Everything was different today, now that he carried 200,000 yuan. Money emboldened a person. He would claim attributes, talents, spirit herbs, and experience alike. Spirit herbs were especially valuable. They required a full year to mature. Though he'd collected a large quantity of soul glow moss the previous day, it was merely a Tier 1 spirit herb and left something to be desired. If he could locate Tier 2 spirit herbs, their worth would be far greater. No one ever turned down more wealth. Shortly after Lu Hao departed, I was worried he'd stick with the crowd, making it difficult to strike. I never expected the fool to wander off on his own. This is him asking for trouble. Wang Xiang watched Lu Hao's retreating figure, cold light flickering in his eyes, and issued instructions to Li Cheng. Make it quick and clean. Once it's done, return to the team. Lin Shueyao leveled up to level 5 alongside me yesterday. I will be the strongest in this secret realm. Rest assured, young Master Wang. Dealing with Lu Hao will be trivial. If we weren't within camp boundaries, I could have shot him dead with an arrow right now. Li Cheng radiated confidence. Let the boy enjoy a few more minutes of life. A heavy bow materialized in his grasp. Agile and nimble, he bounded forward and vanished into the mist as well. Lu Hao followed the route he'd taken the day before. Level 5 scent hounds no longer interested him. He planned to head straight into the level 6 beast territory. With an astonishing 52 agility points, he moved swiftly through the hilly woodland without activating sprint. Before long, he traveled half a li and reached the heart of the level 5 beast zone. Li Cheng trailed close behind. As an agile marksman, sharp eyes and high agility were his greatest strengths, and he kept steady pursuit. At first, he watched Lu Hao charge deep into level 5 beast territory, utterly confused. He could not fathom why a crafter, a class with no combat prowess, would rush recklessly forward. By any measure, it was a suicidal move. A single encounter with a scent hound would spell his end. Confusion aside, the moment Lu Hao left the safety of the camp, he had handed Li Cheng the perfect chance to shoot him down. That was all that mattered. 10 minutes passed, and Li Cheng began to sense something was wrong. Lu Hao traversed the mountain slopes as if walking on flat ground, moving far too quickly. That can't be right. No ordinary person should move with such speed and agility. Lu Hao had not activated sprint, yet his agility rested at 52 points. Li Cheng realized he had to push himself to his absolute limit just to keep up. By now, the noise from the camp was far out of earshot. Only the rustle of wind through foliage and distant roars of beasts echoed through the secret realm. I have to take him down now. Li Cheng grew anxious. Ahead lies the boundary between level 5 and 6 beast territory. If we get surrounded by beasts, even I might struggle to escape. Never mind this useless crafter. With that thought, he tightened his grip on his heavy bow and readied to launch his attack. But the next instant, the land dipped over a low knoll, and Lu Hao's figure disappeared from sight. Damn it! Li Cheng sprinted forward in pursuit. A distance of 200 meters normally took him mere minutes to cover. Yet when he crested the knoll and scanned the surroundings, Lu Hao was nowhere to be found. Panic stirred in his chest. Where had he gone? Just then, a calm voice drifted over. You've chased me all this way. Could it be you want to team up to hunt beasts? A figure stepped out slowly from behind a thicket of shrubs. Calm and unhurried, it was Lu Hao. At the sight of him, Li Cheng relaxed and sneered. Run? Why have you stopped? Lu Hao, you should never have crossed young Master Wang. Some people are simply far beyond your ability to provoke. Oh, Lu Hao smiled faintly. So you've come to kill me? Precisely. Li Cheng's expression turned icy. We were classmates once, and I had no wish to end your life. Blame only yourself for courting death. They stood deep within high-level beast territory, and Li Cheng dared not waste time. He knocked an arrow and drew the bow. With a sharp twang, the heavy arrow streaked toward Lu Hao, 50 paces away. This was his first tier-class skill, power shot. 50 meters was the optimal range for the skill, where accuracy and striking power reached their peak. After releasing the arrow, he relaxed his grip. He was certain this shot would pierce Lu Hao's body. His mission would be complete. Yet the next second, his eyes flew wide with disbelief as he stared at Lu Hao. The arrow whistled past Lu Hao's side and embedded itself deep into a tree trunk with a dull thud. He missed? That was his first thought, the only explanation he could grasp. But an inexplicable sense of dread rose within him. Twang! After a moment of stunned shock, Li Cheng reacted swiftly and loosed a second arrow. This shot carried even greater speed and force than the first. There was no denying the destructive power of the heavy arrow. The marksman class truly excelled at long-range assault. This time, Li Cheng watched clearly. As the arrow raced toward its target, Lu Hao twisted his body to the side at lightning speed. And once more, the arrow sailed harmlessly past. It was not a bad aim. His target had dodged with effortless ease. Li Cheng could not believe what he was seeing. A crafter with no combat capability, someone he'd always dismissed as worthless, had dodged his power shot with ease. It was as absurd as watching an ant suddenly transform into a giant and send him flying with a single punch. He blurted out, "Aren't you just a crafter? You shot 2 arrows at me. Now it's my turn." Lu Hao's voice echoed calmly. He was still 50 meters away when he spoke the first word, and by the final syllable, he stood right beside Li Cheng. So fast. Those 2 words were all Li Cheng could process. Lu Hao closed in and drove an upward fist into Li Cheng's ribs. Crack! Multiple bones snapped at once. In that split second, Li Cheng heard 6 or 7 ribs on his left side fracture simultaneously. Agony washed over him as his body flew through the air like a sack. As he sailed backward, Li Cheng was overwhelmed by searing pain, yet it paled in comparison to the terror gripping his heart. As an agile class warrior, his senses were razor sharp. He could not understand how Lu Hao possessed such power, yet the blistering speed and crushing strength made one fact undeniable. Lu Hao was fully capable of killing him, and there was no doubt Lu Hao intended to do exactly that. From the corner of his eye, he saw Lu Hao's cold gaze. A large fireball materialized in his left palm. Without question, the spell would strike him down the next instant. Fear seized Li Cheng completely. Li Cheng arced through the air, wind screaming in his ears, and the agony from his broken ribs threatened to make him black out. But the terror of death overpowered all pain. He stared at the figure standing on the ground. Lu Hao's eyes were cold as a blade. He truly intended to kill him. Without hesitation, while still airborne, Li Cheng activated his teleport bracelet. A circular protective barrier erupted around him. At the exact same moment, a dark red explosive fireball hurtled toward him. Boom! A deafening explosion shook the area as the fireball slammed into the barrier, engulfing it in roiling flames. Li Cheng squeezed his eyes shut in despair, feeling the scorching heat wash over him. He had no idea if he would survive. When the flames faded, Lu Hao frowned and stared at the empty patch of ground, his expression frigid. He knew Li Cheng had triggered the emergency teleport. Lucky escape. Powerful as he had become, he could not easily break through the school-issued life-saving artifact. Li Cheng was merely Wang Xiang's lackey. Killing him mattered little. The lesson he had received was sufficient. Lu Hao turned and ventured deeper into the fog without lingering. Outside the secret realm, in the plaza, light flickered violently at the teleportation point. A charred, bloodied figure stumbled out of the portal and crashed heavily onto the ground, limbs twitching. It was Li Cheng. Most of his hair had been burned away, large swathes of his skin covered in burns, and the left side of his ribcage caved inward. He knew that if he had hesitated even a tenth of a second longer, he would already be a corpse. Teachers and staff rushed over, and one of them cast a healing spell on him. How can he be so strong? I thought he was just a crafter. Good heavens, has he been hiding his true strength all along? Endless terror surged through Li Cheng in that moment. He suffered such severe burns. Did you run afoul of fire moths? Principal Jian shook his head. Li Cheng fell silent for a moment. It was Lu Hao. He dared not reveal he had been sent by Wang Xiang to attack Lu Hao, only to be nearly killed himself. Principal Jian froze. What did you say? Lu Hao? The Lu Hao from your class? Yes, him. That cannot be. He's only a crafter. Other school principals had gathered nearby. After hearing the story, one sighed. The boy must be suffering acute stress. Arrange for a counselor to speak with him. Li Cheng was escorted to a small tent to rest. He lay inside his sleeping bag, staring blankly at the tent ceiling. That Lu Hao, he has combat power, and he's far stronger than anyone imagined. Li Hao muttered, his voice trembling. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the fireball exploding in front of him, the scorching heat, blinding light, and suffocating sense of impending death. He, an A-talent marksman, had nearly been killed in an instant. Who would believe such a story? He was never just a crafter. He hid his strength so deeply. Suddenly, he jolted upright, his face draining of all color. Young Master Wang and the others have no idea how dangerous Lu Hao is. They thought Lu Hao was weak prey to bully at will. If they crossed paths with him, Li Cheng shuddered. Lu Hao's speed, strength, and terrifying fire magic, the overwhelming pressure he exuded defied all logic. Powerful as young Master Wang was, he might not even get the chance to flee if faced with such overwhelming strength. Deep within the secret realm, Lu Hao knew nothing of what was unfolding outside. The terrain ahead shifted into a jagged stone forest pockmarked with pits and hollows. Suddenly, something coiled tight around his ankle. An almost invisible strand of spider silk wrapped around his left leg. The other end was attached to a spider as wide as a wash basin, its back patterned with a terrifying face marking. A ghost-faced spider. Lu Hao remained calm. He flipped his left hand over, and an explosive fireball coalesced in his palm. These creatures feared fire above all else. Boom. The fireball detonated against the spider's body. It let out a shrill, pained screech. A dull ache throbbed in Lu Hao's mind. Mental shriek? Yet his high spirit attribute let him shake off the discomfort instantly. The injured ghost-faced spider, reeking of burnt chitin, fled deep into the stone forest. Think you can run? Not a chance. Whoosh. Lu Hao hurled 2 more successive fireballs. Boom. Boom. You have slain a ghost-faced spider. Experience plus 60. Lu Hao stepped forward and activated Infinite Harvest. Spirit Attribute +2. Not bad at all. Now carrying 200,000 yuan, Lu Hao no longer held back when casting spells. Before long, flames erupted continuously across the stone forest. Boom after boom. The thunderous blasts never ceased. 4 ghost-faced spiders emerged only to be slain immediately. A flood of notifications flashed across his vision. Spirit Attribute +2 each time. Suddenly, a pale light flickered. Ding. Infinite Harvest triggered a critical harvest. You have obtained F-rank Spirit Talent, Mental Sense. Mental Sense weakly perceives elemental energy and spiritual force. Unlocks the ability to learn first-tier spellcasting skills. Lu Hao's eyes lit up. He already possessed Fire Affinity, a fire-aligned talent. Mental Sense was a universal spirit talent. It meant he could learn a far broader range of spells. He crossed the charred, blackened rubble and spotted a dull crimson glow tucked within a shaded rock crevice. Blood Essence Grass, a Tier 1 spirit herb. Infinite Harvest successful. You have obtained Perfect Blood Essence Grass Essence. Vitality Attribute +3. Warm vital energy spread through his limbs and torso. This is the advantage of gaining an early lead. Lu Hao moved swiftly through the stone forest, determined to harvest all spirit herbs in the area before anyone else arrived. His fighting style was worlds apart from the previous day. Yesterday, he had advanced cautiously along a set route, careful not to draw the attention of too many beasts. Today, he fought openly and aggressively, cutting down every monster in his path as he swept across the zone. Shortly after, he gathered 7 more Blood Essence Grass, gaining a total of 21 Vitality Attribute points. He cleared nearly all monsters within the level 6 beast territory. You have reached level 6. Gained 5 free attribute points. You have reached level 7. You have reached level 8. In just over an hour, he leveled up 3 times after slaying hundreds of ghost-faced spiders. His method of clearing monsters was brutally effective. He advanced into the level 7 beast territory. Boom, boom, boom. Reddish fire blazed without pause, and the mournful roars of beasts echoed all around. The beasts here were iron-boned berserk apes. Standing 2.5 meters tall, they possessed immense strength and vicious tempers. But Lu Hao's explosive fireballs were even more relentless. They charged forward like trucks, snapping tree trunks as thick as bowls in their path. Yet nearly all were reduced to smoldering embers before they could close the distance to Lu Hao. With 52 spirit points, Lu Hao could cast explosive fireball in rapid succession, almost as easily as basic attacks. His 500+ energy would be drained within 2 or 3 minutes. For any other adventurer, they would have to wait slowly to recover, or rely on potions like the basic energy potions he had sold the night before, which restored 100 energy every 5 minutes. Lu Hao simply refilled his energy reserves instantly, spending a few hundred yuan each time. Then he unleashed another volley of continuous explosive fireballs. An hour later, the level 7 beast territory was largely cleared out. He collected 9 more Tier 1 spirit herbs, gaining another 27 vitality attribute points after slaying hundreds of iron-boned berserk apes. He leveled up 3 more times. You have reached level 11/20,000. Gained 6 free attribute points. Lu Hao noticed that the experience required to level up increased tenfold after level 10, yet the free attribute points granted rose from 5 to 6 per level. Suddenly, his eyes widened. On the ground grew a spirit herb shaped like a miniature ginseng, its body deep crimson and radiating a faint vital aura. Blood-bone spirit ginseng? Tier 2. This was a primary ingredient for crafting top-tier instant healing vitality potions. It ranked among the finest Tier 2 spirit herbs, its value rivaling even some Tier 3 varieties. I've struck it rich. Lu Hao hurried forward, excitement rising. You obtained Perfect Blood-bone Spirit Ginseng Essence ×1. Vitality Attribute +4. A remarkable treasure. Lu Hao did not linger and pressed onward into the level 8 beast territory. Meanwhile, within the level 5 ferocious beast zone, a 5-man squad was locked in combat against 2 scent hounds. The 5 fought frantically. One scent hound darted into the formation and sank its teeth into the arm of the ranged mage. Its crushing bite tore open a massive gash. Flesh peeled back, revealing white bone beneath. Fresh blood spurted wildly. Fortunately, after battling through the previous day, the squad's coordination had grown solid. After a grueling fight, they slew both scent hounds. The healer quickly cast a healing spell on the mage, and the bleeding soon stopped. The squad pressed onward. Why are there so few scent hounds around here? The tank leading the group frowned as he marched at the front. Battles were tough, Yet they still needed to hunt ferocious beasts to level up. Otherwise, how could they grow stronger? You're right. We've walked for ages and only run into these two. We even managed to gather a spirit herb yesterday. Today, not a single thing. Could we be moving too slowly? Other teams might have gotten here first. The group murmured among themselves. Enough speculation. Let's pick up our pace, the tank captain sighed. This was not the only squad facing such trouble. Across the level 5 ferocious beast zone, countless teams noticed an alarming shortage of beasts that day. Judging by yesterday's pace, clearing a tier of beast territory normally took 2 to 5 hours of non-stop fighting. What they did not know was that Lu Hao simply thought these level 5 scent hounds were not worth his time, so he had not fully wiped them out. If he had, not even these two would have remained for anyone to encounter. Over in the level 6 ferocious beast zone, a powerful 5-man team stared in shock at a stretch of stone forest, where the bodies of more than 20 ghost-faced spiders lay scattered across the ground. Damn, seriously? Which squad pulled dozens of ghost-faced spiders together and took them all down? Silence fell over the group. All 5 froze on the spot. The thick stench of blood hanging in the wind and the sprawled corpses proved what they saw was real. If they had not witnessed it firsthand, they would never believe such a feat was possible. Had someone merely told them this story, they would have dismissed it as empty boasting. This doesn't make sense. We struggled just fighting 2 ghost-faced spiders a little while ago. Even Lin Shuiyao's or Wang Xiang's teams couldn't be this powerful, right? They were no weaklings themselves. They had set off earlier than most squads, fought some beasts in the level 5 scent hound zone, then advanced into the level 6 stone forest. They had just been commenting on how scarce the ghost-faced spiders were, only to stumble upon this field of corpses. The 5 stood dumbfounded amid the breeze. At that same moment, Lin Shuiyao's team had entered the level 7 Iron Bone Ape zone. Every member, including Lin Shuiyao herself, wore grave expressions. Who on earth is that team ahead of us? How can they be so strong? On their way through the level 5, level 6, and now level 7 zones, they had passed countless piles of ferocious beast bodies left behind by mass slaughters. They understood better than most just how difficult clearing groups of beasts was, and the sight filled them with awe. After all, they were the elite squad aiming to claim first place in this trial. Li Yang stared in disbelief and spoke up. Could it be Wang Xiang's team? But even with Wang Xiang's berserker bursting with power, he shouldn't be capable of something this extreme. Wang Xiang? He's strong, but I observed him last night. Like us, he was only level 5. I don't believe his squad can pull this off. The female assassin frowned. Might there be another powerful team we overlooked? Maybe their individual talents aren't top tier, but their overall teamwork makes them formidable. The young priest pursed her lips. That's impossible. Lin Shuiyao shook her head firmly. Her squad boasted S-tier talent Lin Shuiyao as the core, and the rest were no slouches. A B-tier assassin, an A-tier marksman, a B-tier priest, and a C-tier tank. Both range damage dealers were masters of their respective classes. Even Li Yang, the weakest member, wore premium gear and was far from feeble. A lineup like this put them among the top contenders in the trial. It's not Wang Xiang's squad. Su Wan, the female marksman who had been examining the beast carcasses, suddenly said, "Look, the main damage dealt to these beasts comes from fire-type abilities. Wang Xiang's team has no fire mages. But I've never heard of any outstanding fire mage among this year's newly awakened classes." Su Wan's observation left the others even more confused. Could someone from a prominent clan have forged extraordinary beginner equipment, letting them sweep through the novice secret realm? Enough. Lin Shuiyao waved a hand. There's no need to guess. The truth is plain to see. An overwhelmingly powerful team is operating ahead of us. If we slow down, they will leave us far behind. We have to speed up. With that, she led the team deeper into the territory of the level 7 Iron Bone Apes. After walking a short distance, Su Wan, the marksman, glanced back toward the bodies. Her gaze settled on one shriveled Iron Bone Ape corpse. Gathering art, a question lingered in her mind. She had seen this distinct sign of harvesting more than once within the secret realm. The only known harvester in the trial was Lu Hao. Yet the thought seemed utterly illogical. He already shows traits that defy what people expect from a life class professional. But to think he is also a peak combat professional, that stretches credibility too far. She shook her head and kept the thought to herself. No one would believe her if she spoke it aloud. Truth be told, she could barely believe it herself. Meanwhile, within a mountain hollow in the level 7 Iron Bone Ape zone, Wang Xiang's 4-man squad fought desperately against 4 Iron Bone Apes. All were covered in blood, teetering on the brink of collapse. If not for their high-quality equipment, they would have perished long ago. Their experience mirrored Lin Shuiyao's team. Having waited fruitlessly for Li Cheng to return, they had set out despite being short one member. As they traveled, they found countless ferocious beasts slain ahead of them. At first, they assumed Lin Shuiyao's squad was responsible. Among all teams in the secret realm, only hers possessed the strength to rival them. This first novice secret realm after class awakening carried immense weight. Whoever gained an early lead would maintain momentum, directly impacting the upcoming Grand Martial examination. Wang Xiang dreamed of claiming the title of top warrior in Songzhou. Realizing a rival had surged ahead, he reacted just as Lin Shuiyao had. He pushed his team forward faster. But he overlooked one critical detail. Normally, squads spent hours fighting within the level 5 zone to raise their strength before advancing gradually to level 6, then level 7. Now nearly all beasts ahead had been cleared by Lu Hao. Forced onward, they had entered the level 7 zone prematurely. They were fighting enemies far above their own level, which brought tremendous danger. If their power could not keep up, disaster awaited. Sure enough, they stumbled upon this den of 4 iron bone apes. The beasts had seemed skittish at first, before flying into a berserk rage. A brutal battle erupted. Thankfully, Wang Xiang's team carried ample supplies. By recklessly consuming potions and various combat items, they finally defeated the 4 apes. The cost, however, was steep. Every member bore wounds, including Wang Xiang himself, who carried a deep, bone-deep claw gash across his back. The fragile priest nearly lost his life. It's all Li Cheng's fault. Where has he wandered off to, never coming back? We're short one squad member. Without that gap in our lineup, we wouldn't have taken such heavy damage, Zhao Hong grumbled as he bandaged his nearly crippled left arm. Damn it. How long does it take to deal with one useless nobody? Wang Xiang snarled in frustration. His mood was frayed to breaking point. With no confirmation that Lu Hao was dead, the bonus rights he coveted still eluded him. Losing one member also broke their squad formation, weakening their overall combat power. Worst of all, he believed Lin Shuiyao's team had surged far ahead, wiping out most of the ferocious beasts. The prospect filled him with despair. He still thought Lin Shuiyao's squad was behind all the slaughters. If he learned the culprit was Lu Hao, the person he dismissed as worthless, he would fly into a rage. Far ahead, Lu Hao continued clearing beasts and gathering materials, unaware of the chaos and commotion he had sparked behind him. On his own, his raw strength alone would not achieve such results. Yet he possessed the terrifying ability of infinite mana recovery, paired with his second-tier skill Explosive Fireball. He fought non-stop, like an endlessly reloading missile launcher. Within half a day, he had slain tens of thousands of beasts without pause. His mass clearing forced every squad behind him to fight opponents above their level. Danger rose exponentially. Many warriors fled for their lives. The number of participants teleporting out to the outer plazas surged sharply, leaving all the observing headmasters utterly confused. Nothing like this had ever occurred in the history of the novice secret realm. Lu Hao, meanwhile, felt immense exhilaration. No longer forced to conserve power, he could unleash his full strength without restraint. Booming explosions echoed deep within the misty plains. He cleared territory at blistering speed, killing beasts, harvesting every spirit herb he found, then moving onward. Half a morning slipped by before he leaned against the roots of a large tree and pulled out dry bread and mineral water for a simple meal. At this point, his level stood at 20,000/30,000. He was only a step away from level 13. After a 30-minute rest, Lu Hao returned to battle. He walked a short distance before halting abruptly. Something felt wrong. No birds chirped, no insects buzzed, an unnatural silence hung over everything. Yet his nose caught the distinct, fishy stench of ferocious beasts. Eyesight enhancement. Dead tree trunks, jagged rock formations, tangled vines. Roughly 10 meters to his left, one rock trembled faintly along its edge. A crack split open, and 2 small spherical orbs slowly rotated within the fissure. It was a living creature. The next instant, a dark shape shot forth from its maw at blinding speed. Lu Hao tilted his head just in time. The shadow brushed past his face. If he had not spotted the beast in advance, he would have been struck. So fast, as he dodged, a massive fireball materialized in his left hand. Boom! A shrill cry cut through the air. The beast's full form came into view. A chameleon over a meter long. Level 8 ferocious beast, Mist Veil Chameleon. Before the chameleon could react, Lu Hao launched a second fireball that struck home. Flames burst outward, and the chameleon screeched in agony. Third, fourth, he bombarded it relentlessly. You have slain a Mist Veil Chameleon. Experience plus 80. Lu Hao stepped forward and activated Endless Harvest. Spirit attribute plus 2. The level 8 Mist Veil Chameleon excelled at mimicry and camouflage. When unnoticed, it could strike with its lightning-fast tongue, catching victims off guard. But once eyesight enhancement pierced its disguise, it posed little threat. Within the next minute, he discovered 2 more chameleons hidden by mimicry. Another relentless barrage of fireballs followed. A pale white light flickered. Ding! Endless Harvest triggered a critical harvest. You have harvested Profound Origin. You obtain the first-tier spirit skill, Mimic Camouflage. Mimic Camouflage, first tier, form a spiritual concealment layer over your body. It partially masks your aura and subtly distorts your appearance and build, preventing others from recognizing your true identity. Huh. Lu Hao blinked in surprise. He never expected Endless Harvest to extract the chameleon's innate ability. Though not an offensive combat skill, it might prove invaluable in certain situations. It was a welcome gain. After sweeping through the level 8 Ferocious Beast Zone, he harvested 8 more spirit herbs. He also advanced to level 13 10,000/40,000, with extra experience stacked beyond the threshold. Lu Hao moved onward to begin clearing the level 9 Ferocious Beast Zone. Level 9 Blade Mantis. Agile predators renowned as the fastest beasts in the Novice Secret Realm, capable of terrifying burst strikes. Yet no matter how swift they were, they could not withstand Lu Hao's endless fireball barrages. Most of his time was spent searching for spirit herbs. Slaying beasts was merely a side task. Night fell, and thick fog rolled in once more, limiting visibility. The misty plains of the Novice Secret Realm held 10 tiers of ferocious beasts. Lu Hao had now cleared all the way to level 9. Logically, he ought to retreat to the shared camp for the night, as he had the evening before, the safest choice. But he held an enormous lead, deep within the later sections of the Secret Realm. Traveling back to the middle zones would waste considerable time. After weighing his options, he resolved not to return to camp tonight. He would slow his clearing pace. If weariness overwhelmed him later, he would find a relatively secure spot to rest. Having made his decision, he moderated his speed and continued eliminating the remaining level 9 beasts. While Lu Hao cleared beasts at his unhurried pace, another team had also chosen not to retreat to camp. Lin Shuiyao's squad, not far from his position. Shuiyao, the night fog is heavy. Staying within the beast zone overnight is far too risky, the young priest whispered. We are only level 7. Level 9 and 10 beasts lie ahead. We are already fighting far above our tier. We have fallen hopelessly behind that unknown team. Lin Shuiyao gritted her teeth and shook her head. That team ahead hasn't retreated either. If they dare stay, so can we. The priest sighed silently. She knew Lin Shuiyao's pride ran deep. As Cangzhou's outstanding S-tier lightning mage of this year, she could not bear being outshone by an unknown rival within the secret realm. The priest could only pray disaster would not strike. The squad advanced slowly. Soon, they encountered several level 9 blade mantises, native to these fog-shrouded lands. Lin Shuiyao's team immediately fell into a disadvantageous position. Their formation nearly collapsed several times, and every member sustained minor injuries. We should find a place to rest. A few more beasts, and we will not be able to hold out. Su Wan the marksman said grimly. Understood. This time, Lin Shuiyao nodded, abandoning her stubborn advance. Visibility was poor, and the beasts were far stronger than them. The risks continued to mount. Shortly afterward, they located a slope. They set up simple warning traps and barriers, establishing a crude temporary camp. Campfire light cast somber shadows over every face. Even Liang, who constantly sought to curry favor with Lin Shuiyao, remained quiet. Everyone tried to rest. I will take the first watch, Lin Shuiyao said solemnly. The others said nothing, seizing the chance to recover. The day's battles, especially those fought after dusk, had drained their stamina and energy completely. Lin Shuiyao paced along the camp perimeter, gazing into the thick fog and letting out a quiet sigh. She had never imagined this novice secret realm would leave her so outmatched and passive. For some unknown reason, in the quiet of the night, Lu Hao's figure drifted into her thoughts. He must have teleported out of the secret realm long ago by now. As a life class professional, it took real courage for him to enter the secret realm. Still, he is stubborn and proud, yet unfortunately, he only awakened a life occupation. She knew the long-standing grievances between their two families. She understood the crushing disappointment Lu Hao endured upon awakening only a life profession. She also knew his resentment toward the Lin family extended to her. No matter what had passed, her father had never given him a proper explanation. In the end, they had wronged him. Lost in tangled thoughts, her eyes suddenly sharpened. She called out sharply, "Who's there?" A figure flashed through the fog ahead. The person merely glanced her way, then turned to leave. Wait! Lin Shuiyao shouted and hurried in pursuit. Fog swirled around the distant silhouette, flickering in and out of sight, never halting. Lin Shuiyao gritted her teeth and chased more than 100 meters. Finally, the figure ahead stopped and slowly turned. The fog thinned slightly, revealing a face she knew all too well. Lu Hao. She could have imagined anyone, but never him. As a combat-incapable life professional, reaching the deep high-tier beast zone defied all logic. Along such a long route, any single ferocious beast should have meant certain death for him. She froze in shock. Moments later, she rushed forward, her voice sharp with anxiety and frustration. How did you get all the way here? Do you realize this is high-tier ferocious beast territory? Are you throwing your life away? I don't care how you made it this far. You need to head back right now. No, come with me to our camp at once. Lu Hao regarded her calmly, his tone steady. Why can't I be here? I go wherever I choose. You've lost your mind. You really don't value your own life. Lin Shuiyao's voice trembled with urgency. Your father and sister would want to see you return safely, not recklessly throw yourself to the beasts. The instant her words faded, roar. Deep within the fog, a pair of crimson copper-sized eyes lit up, radiating terrifying, unbridled rage. Not good. That's a level 10 ferocious beast, Iron Spine Bear. What is it doing so close? Lin Shuiyao's heart lurched. Lu Hao, come with me now. We won't make it if we delay. But it was already too late. From the mist stepped a colossal beast of staggering size. Standing nearly 4 meters at the shoulder, it resembled a moving house, casting an overshadowing darkness over the land. Its pelt was a deep iron gray, and a ridge of black mane rose along its spine, stiff as steel needles standing on end. Its eyes glowed dark red, brimming with unbridled ferocity and cruelty. The ground trembled faintly with every step it took, and the air hung thick with a heavy stench of blood and overwhelming oppressive aura. No good. It's an elite iron spine bear. Lin Shuiyao's face drained of color, and she cried out in alarm. A short mage's staff materialized in her grasp. She faced the ferocious beast with extreme gravity, shouting urgently, Lu Hao, I'll hold it off. Run while you can. Pa pa pa. Before her words even faded, Lu Hao turned and fled. His speed was astonishing. In the blink of an eye, he vanished into the dense fog without a trace. Lin Shuiyao froze. He really ran? He abandoned her just like that? Even though she had told him to flee. Witnessing him turn his back and leave her behind stirred a tangled emotion deep within her. So be it. She sighed faintly. She would consider this the Lin family settling their debt to the Lu family once and for all. A ferocious beast of such formidable strength was far more than a level 7 mage like her could handle alone. Yet she refused to retreat. She had considered activating her teleport ring to escape the secret realm immediately. But if I leave now, it will surely turn around and hunt Lu Hao. Even in this critical moment, her thoughts drifted to Lu Hao's safety. Thunder armor. Lin Shuiyao waved her staff, and a lightning-wreathed energy barrier instantly enveloped her entire body. Roar. The elite iron spine bear let out a thunderous roar. It slammed its paws against the ground and charged forward like a towering mountain, each stride shaking the earth as it bore down on her with overwhelming momentum. Thunder orb. Truly worthy of her S-rank standing, Lin Shuiyao's reaction was peerlessly swift. Gritting her teeth, she hurled a fist-sized orb of lightning that struck the bear dead on. Boom. Thunder crashed. Electric light burst forth, the orb erupting in blinding blue-white radiance. But the impact failed to halt the elite iron spine bear's charge. One massive paw swept down, crashing violently against Lin Shuiyao's thunder armor. Puffed. The barrier shattered instantly. Lin Shuiyao let out a muffled groan, her body flying backward. When she landed, a trail of blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. It was far too powerful. She could not block it at all. At that same instant, the detonation of Lin Shuiyao's thunder orb alerted 4 others not far away at their campsite. Something's wrong. One person exclaimed. Several figures immediately darted out from the camp. The archer Su Wan reacted the fastest. Covering the 100-meter distance in moments, she caught sight of the elite iron spine bear bearing down on Lin Shuiyao. Shuiyao. Her face paled with shock. Without hesitation, she drew and loosed an arrow with a sharp twang. The elite iron spine bear had been poised to pounce and slay Lin Shuiyao, yet it was forced to swat the incoming arrow aside. Though the arrow was deflected, it bought the group roughly 2 precious seconds. Lin Shuiyao managed to roll backward, putting some distance between herself and the beast. It's an elite ferocious beast. The assassin Zhou Ji's face turned ashen. Pastor Xiaoxue quickly cast a healing spell on Lin Shueyao, her voice trembling. We cannot defeat it. Li Yong gripped his shield, standing at the rear, his features rigid with fear, legs trembling slightly. The elite iron-spined bear advanced slowly toward them. Even with more opponents now before it, it seemed unconcerned. It ran its tongue hungrily over its jaws. Its dark red eyes swept across the group, and a low rumbling growl reverberated in its throat. It slammed both paws against the ground. Boom! Two enormous craters exploded in the earth, scattering stone shards. Its speed defied its massive frame, surging forward like an out-of-control heavy truck. Liang, block it! Hold its aggro! Lin Shueyao shouted urgently. In this situation, their tank had to absorb the beast's attacks, giving the damage dealers a chance to fight back. Liang shakily stepped forward. But when the colossal beast loomed mere meters away, he met those eerie crimson eyes, and felt the killing intent that threatened to crush him. Fear overwhelmed him. I can't hold it. Liang let out a panicked scream, rolling sharply to the side to dodge. His shield flew from his grasp, and he scrambled into the fog without looking back. Liang! Su Wan cried out, a mix of shock and anger in her voice. Without their tank, their battle formation collapsed at once. The assassin's dagger and the archer's arrow struck the charging elite iron-spined bear simultaneously. Though they were not frail combatants, they could not compare to a dedicated tank. Uft! Uft! Both women coughed up blood and were sent flying by the beast's strike. Su Wan! Zhou, the pastor cried out behind them. Yet once the formation broke, the healer was left exposed, helpless to turn the tide. After knocking the assassin and archer aside, the elite iron-spined bear did not pause. It wheeled around and lunged toward Lin Shueyao. With no allies left to protect her, she was completely vulnerable. We're done for. Xiaoxue squeezed her eyes shut. At that very moment, a brilliant ball of fire blazed to life, streaking from the side with a trailing flame. Boom! The fireball exploded against the elite iron-spined bear. Flames washed over its fur, engulfing it in fire. The instant the fireball detonated, a dark figure burst forth from the fog, closing the distance to the bear in an instant. Crash! A fist carrying terrifying power slammed hard into its flank. Crack! The clear sound of snapping bone cut through the air. The elite iron-spined bear let out a shrill wail. Its enormous body was sent flying by the single punch, crashing through 3 bole-thick trees before slamming heavily to the ground in a cloud of dust. Everyone froze. Lin Shueyao, Su Wan, Zhou and Xiaoxue stared blankly at the newly arrived figure. A handsome, unfamiliar man stood there, his gaze calm, emanating an intimidating pressure that sent chills down their spines. His right hand remained clenched into a fist, while in his left palm, another crimson fireball materialized, swirling with raging fire elemental energy. Without the slightest pause, the fireball in his hand shot forward, striking the elite iron-spined bear square in the skull just as it struggled to rise. Boom! The explosion lit up half the forest, shockwaves tossing stones and dead branches everywhere. The elite iron-spined bear roared in agony after taking the second fireball strike. The man's eyes turned cold. The ground beneath his feet cratered as he launched himself forward like a cannon shell. He moved as fast as a fleeting phantom. Before the flames of the explosion faded, he was already beside the bear, unleashing a rapid barrage of heavy punches. Each blow sent the elite iron-spined bear flying dozens of meters. The moment it landed, he appeared once more to strike again. The 4 women heard successive cracks of breaking bones. Vegetation and rock fragments flew in all directions. Man and beast had moved 100 meters away. The 4 women stood rooted to the spot, stunned, as if trapped within an illusion. From the fireball's arrival, to the man's close-quarters assault that sent the bear hurtling, to casting another fireball and continuing his pursuit. Every movement flowed seamlessly, without hesitation. He possessed the agility of a cheetah and strength enough to shake mountains. Alongside formidable spellcasting power, these vastly different combat styles merged naturally within him. Soon, all noise fell silent. The 4 women slowly regained their senses. They knew the man was overwhelmingly powerful, yet their foe was still an elite iron-spined bear. The silence meant the battle was over. Who had won? Their hearts rose to their throats. Then the man strode out from the haze. He dragged the massive corpse of the ferocious beast behind him. It was none other than the elite iron-spined bear. With absolute dominance, he had slain this terrifying elite beast in a matter of moments. As casually as crushing a tiny hair. A heavy silence hung within the fog. In the distance, the campfire crackled and flared. Night wind swept through the low trees nearby. Su Wan's bow trembled in her grasp. Zhou nearly dropped her dagger. Xiaoxua clapped a hand over her mouth to muffle her gasp. Lin Shuiyao sank to the ground, staring fixedly at the figure before her. He was far too strong. Who on earth was he? None of them had ever laid eyes on him before. If they were not certain only new initiates could enter this beginner's secret realm, they would suspect he was a powerful warrior from outside. The man glanced briefly at the four women, seemingly only checking whether they sustained grave injuries. Seeing they had only minor wounds, he said nothing and turned to leave. Wait. Lin Shuiyao struggled to her feet, her voice hoarse. Who are you? The man paused, yet he did not turn his head. Was it you who cleared out all the ferocious beasts ahead in the secret realm? Lin Shuiyao asked shakily. Suddenly her pupils constricted. Good heavens, you're level 13. It was true. After slaying the elite iron spine bear, Lu Hao had finally advanced to level 13. He had forgotten to conceal his level aura, so there is no 5-person team. It's just you alone. What is your name? The figure in the fog fell silent for a moment. A low, indifferent voice drifted toward them. Yan. With that, he hauled the elite iron spine bear's corpse and strode deep into the fog, vanishing within a few breaths. Lin Shuiyao and her companions remained standing there, lost for words for a long time. Zhou Ji swallowed hard. A single person, defeating a level 10 elite beast with nothing but fists and fireballs. What kind of monster is he? Xiaoxua whispered. Are there any students this powerful in our cohort? Level 13, I can hardly believe it. Why has he remained unknown all this time? Lin Shuiyao stared blankly toward the direction where the man had vanished. If not for him, she and her teammates would likely have died. Beneath the claws of the elite iron spine bear, a beast of such immense strength and speed could easily have killed them before they activated their teleport bracelets. Images of the fight replayed endlessly in her mind. The crushing force of that punch, the destructive power of the fireball, the sight of him dragging the corpse and walking away. Why, she wondered, had the two men beside her fled when disaster struck, while this stranger had descended like a divine savior? No wonder he could hunt every beast in the secret realm alone. Even if the 5 of us joined forces, we would not stand a chance against him. The assassin sighed. Does anyone else think he looks familiar? At that moment, Archer Su once spoke up. Familiar. The others looked confused. Yes. She hesitated after speaking. He reminds me of Lu Hao. The instant the words left her mouth, Zhou Ji let out a scoff. Lu Hao? That gathering occupation practitioner? Wan, have you been scared into hallucinations? Xiaoxua shook her head, sounding helpless. Wan, do you realize what you're saying? You know Lu Hao's ability. A gatherer without any combat talent. How can you compare him to Yin? They exist in completely different realms. But, Su Wan tried to argue. She parted her lips, yet chose not to press the point. She too thought the idea absurd. How could a simple gatherer suddenly become an unmatched powerhouse sweeping through the secret realm? Still, that lingering sense of familiarity lingered stubbornly in her heart. Actually, I saw Lu Hao here earlier. Lin Shuiyao, who had remained quiet, suddenly said. The 3 women turned toward her at once. Shuiyao, are you saying he really was? Pastor Xiaoxua stared in shock. No, Lin Shuiyao shook her head. She recounted everything that had happened when she encountered Lu Hao. You mean when the ferocious beast attacked, he ran to save himself, just like Li Yang? Assassin Zhou Ji stared in disbelief, anger flaring soon after. You've always cared about him, and this is how he acts? How can he do such a thing? Li Yang is just as bad. He nearly got us killed, Xiaoxua said resentfully. A heroic champion, and a coward who abandoned his companions in mortal danger. The 4 women returned to camp and tended to their wounds carefully. All but Xiaoxua had sustained injuries. The man who had rescued them was naturally Lu Hao. He had not traveled far. After moving 200 meters beyond their line of sight, he came to a halt. He tossed the elite iron spine bear's corpse onto the ground. He had disguised himself with a different appearance using shape-shifting magic before stepping in, unwilling to reveal his true identity, though exposure would not be catastrophic. Besides, after turning to flee, he had kept a close watch on the elite iron spine bear. He waited a while to act only after confirming the beast would not deliver a fatal blow to the women. His overall attributes were already comparable to a well-rounded combat professional of level 20 to 30. Fighting a level 10 elite beast required little effort from him. I hope they didn't recognize me, Lu Hao muttered, pinching the bridge of his nose. He lifted his disguise afterward. Now, in Lin Shuiyao's eyes, he was the man who abandoned her and ran away. Lu Hao smiled faintly. He cared little about how she perceived him. Right now, he had only one goal, grow stronger, so he could find his father and elder sister. They were his only family, and he could not bear to never learn what became of them. His gaze fell upon the elite iron-spined bear's corpse, and excitement surged within him. After countless uses of endless harvest, he had begun to discern a pattern. Everything could be harvested, that much was true, yet different targets yielded different rewards. Ordinary plants and animals offered gains he could no longer consider worthwhile. He needed spiritual herbs and spirit beasts at minimum. Even standard-grade creatures usually only granted F-rank talents or first-tier skills. Elite beasts possessed far richer life origins, typically yielding E-rank talents or second-tier skills. He suspected creatures above elite rank would drop even more powerful treasures. Unfortunately, he had only harvested elite ferocious beasts so far. This was merely a beginner's secret realm, designed for new initiates, so no truly massive monsters roamed within its borders. He had resolved that once the beginner's secret realm closed, he would travel to higher-level dungeons and secret realms. He rested his palm above the elite iron-spined bear. Endless harvest. A burst of white light erupted. Strength +3. Ding. Endless harvest triggered a critical harvest. You have extracted profound life origin. You obtained E-rank strength talent, strength amplification. Strength amplification E-rank enables fluid control of physical power. All strength-based attacks deal 200 damage. Detected 2 copies of E-rank talent, strength amplification. Would you like to fuse them? Fuse. You obtain D-rank talent, strength surge. Strength surge D-rank greatly boosts explosive physical power. All strength-based attacks deal 300 damage. Excellent. Lu Hao's heart raced with excitement. At last, one of my 4 primary stats talents has advanced to D rank. If I keep accumulating power step by step, one day all 4 of my basic stat talents may reach SSS rank, making me an unparalleled powerhouse unlike any other. He wondered if tiers existed beyond SSS rank. A surge of ambition filled him, and confidence welled up inside. Yet he shook his head soon after. It would be an arduous journey, and it was too early to indulge in such fantasies. Still, he knew he was on the correct path. He needed to seek out stronger beasts with richer origins. At present, his highest stat talent stood at D rank, yet he was an all-round warrior. He wielded speed from the agility tree, brute physical might, elemental spellcasting, formidable vitality, and unlimited mana sustained by his special ability. His growth potential surpassed ordinary people by a wide margin. In a one-on-one fight against Lin Shuiyao, he could strike from afar with spells or close the gap in an instant and defeat her with a single punch. He could even overcome multiple opponents like her at once. Perhaps before long, he would reach the same heights his father and sister once attained. His father had been a legendary war god, and his sister an S-rank prodigy blessed with extraordinary talent. What kind of secret realm had they ventured into, one from which they never returned? It could not possibly be ordinary. He recalled the grave expressions they wore before departing. They had not uttered a single word to him about their destination. Why had everyone kept it a secret? What lay within that place? After a long while, he drew a deep breath and calmed his emotions. One step at a time, one matter at a time. He had nearly cleared out this secret realm. There was no rush. He would find a place to rest, hunt beasts for half a day tomorrow, and then leave the secret realm. Having made up his mind, Lu Hao found a cave and settled down for a simple rest. Third day within the secret realm. The dense fog lifted, bringing a new dawn. The chaos stirred by Lu Hao's ruthless monster cult grew far worse for all new initiates inside the Zhangzhou secret realm than it had been on the second day. Many were forced to hunt monsters above their level. Progress was slow, and the risks immense. Some were far less fortunate. They could not even find any beasts to hunt. None of these people could have imagined that the mastermind behind everything was none other than the livelihood professional they had surrounded and mocked right before entering the secret realm. Lu Hao alone had slowed down the leveling speed of tens of thousands of students across Zhangzhou this year. Nothing like this had ever happened within a novice secret realm. Even if Lu Hao knew this, he would not have cared. After clearing monsters along the edge of the level 9 beast zone, Lu Hao ventured into the level 10 beast zone. On his own, he was equivalent to a top-tier elite squad, boasting staggeringly high efficiency. From the elite iron spine bear he had slain the previous night, he had obtained 4 strength attribute points. He had also harvested 10 more strength attribute points from 5 ordinary iron spine bears. However, no new talents or skills had dropped. By the end of the morning, he had gathered 13 spiritual herbs from level 10 beasts, among which 2 were second-rank spiritual herbs. His level rose to 1410,000/50,000. It was not that he lacked killing speed. The monsters were simply scattered sparsely, dragging down his efficiency. Still, he was in no hurry. His gains from this novice dungeon far exceeded his expectations before he entered. Judging the time to be right, Lu Hao sat down to rest and tally up all his loot. He first checked his storage space. Aside from 200 portions consumed crafting basic stamina potions, he still held 647 portions of spiritual liquid extracted from first-rank spiritual herbs, most of which came from soul glow grass. He also possessed 3 portions of spiritual liquid refined from second-rank spiritual herbs. Every single one was of perfect quality. These precious resources would serve as his sustainable source of wealth once they left the secret realm. He opened his status panel. Name: Lu Hao. Level: 14, 10,000/50,000. Attributes: Strength 43, Agility 45, Spirit 77, Constitution 98. Unallocated attribute points: 66. Class Talent: Endless Harvest. Strength Talent: Strength Surge Grade D Skill, Power Strike 2nd rank. Agility Talent: Nimbleness Grade F Skills, Swift Step 1st rank, Enhanced Vision 1st rank, Enhanced Scent 1st rank. Spirit Talents: Fire Element Affinity Grade E, Spirit Perception Grade F Skills, Exploding Fireball 2nd rank, Mimic Disguise 1st rank. Lu Hao gasped quietly as he stared at his panel. For starters, level 14 put him leagues ahead of the second-place contender. Even Lin Shuiyao, who ranked second, was likely only level 8 or 9. Wang Xiang was even further behind, at minimum 1 to 2 levels lower than Lin Shuiyao. Second, his attributes were overwhelmingly superior. His total attribute points were at least 3 times those of Lin Shuiyao, an S-class talent holder. When it came to talents and skills, he did not hold a clear advantage in talents alone. Yet he was the first to obtain a second-rank skill. Compared to ordinary students, there was simply no contest. If Lu Hao was an eagle soaring high in the sky, the rest were merely chicks scurrying across the ground. Yet Lu Hao did not grow arrogant. He was undeniably powerful among peers, but once outside the secret realm, if he faced high-level adult combat professionals, he could not be considered overwhelmingly strong. At best, he would stand a fighting chance. From that perspective, there was little reason for excessive pride. He was different from the other students around him. They could follow a steady path of growth, but he could not. He already sensed that his journey to find his family and his efforts to keep his endless harvest talent a secret would bring him up against countless terrifying opponents. Those foes would not be youths his own age. He needed to stay low-key. Finally, Lu Hao's gaze fell upon the 66 unallocated attribute points. He thought briefly about how to distribute them. His offensive power currently stemmed mainly from strength and spirit. His strength talent was his highest, while spirit delivered the most destructive damage. With exploding fireballs serving as his primary heavy-hitting ability, he allocated 20 points to strength and the remaining 46 points to spirit. Attributes: Strength 63, Agility 45, Spirit 123, Constitution 98. His spirit attribute shot up to 123. If the other students saw this number, they would be utterly stunned. The power of his exploding fireball had increased by at least 50%. Lin Shuiyao's team waited for the final transmission signal. Do you think he leveled up to at least level 14 after hunting monsters all morning? The priest Xiao Shui suddenly asked. She did not name anyone, yet the 4 girls all knew exactly who she meant. He called himself Yin. That is definitely a fake name. No one has a single character given name. I am only curious about his real identity and how he grew so strong. The assassin Zhouji said. We can find out who he is once we exit the secret realm, Lin Shuiyao said softly. No one else has reached his level. Shuiyao is right. He saved our entire team. We at least owe it to ourselves to learn his name. I really want to know who he is, which school and class he comes from. I hope I can get a proper chance to talk to him. We should treat him to a meal to repay him for saving us. A meal? I think you're hoping to grow close to him. The moment the girls began speaking of Yin, they grew animated. Every girl admired a powerful warrior, especially one who had rescued them. Outside the secret realm, a group hurried toward the transmission square, members of the Wang clan. With them walked several people wearing identical uniforms, their gazes cold and impassive. Anyone who spotted those uniforms knew exactly who they were, yet few wished to cross paths with them. They were agents of the Investigation Bureau, the official organization tasked with governing society and maintaining order. The novice secret realm drew to a close. Vortex-shaped transmission portals flickered with light across the square as students were teleported out one after another. Lu Hao felt a powerful compressive force wash over his body, accompanied by a faint wave of dizziness. The next instant, he stood outside the square. The plaza was packed with students freshly emerged from the secret realm. Wang Xiang's team stood in the northwest corner. He stared fixedly at the crowd pouring out of the portals. He had reached level 8 this round, an astonishing achievement in the eyes of ordinary students. Only he knew his leveling efficiency had been far from optimal. Ever since awakening his powers, he had set Lin Shuiyao as the rival he had to surpass. Only by defeating her could he stand a chance of entering Tsinghua Peking Martial Arts University. His A-class talent was inherently inferior to her S-class talent. His original plan had been simple: surpass Lin Shuiyao in level within the secret realm, then seize Lu Hao's 40-point bonus during the National Martial Arts Examination. With both advantages combined, he might claim first place across Zhangzhou. A sudden murmur rippled through the crowd as Lin Shuiyao and her teammates materialized from the portal. Wang Xiang focused his sight. Level 9. His face turned livid, and his jaw tightened violently. Students quickly swarmed around her, cries of amazement rising non-stop. Wow, Goddess Lin hit level 9. She's the top performer of this novice secret realm. Absolutely incredible. Goddess Lin, I only made it to level 5. Every shout announcing her level 9 rank felt like a sharp slap to Wang Xiang's face. His talent was weaker, his level was lower, and he had lost any chance of securing the bonus points. The gates of Tsinghua Peking Martial Arts University were slowly closing before his eyes. All his efforts, all his schemes, had amounted to nothing but a joke. It's all Lu Hao's fault. Wang Xiang's eyes blazed red, his features contorted with rage. If he had agreed to hand over the bonus points, Li Cheng would never have gone to confront him and disappear. I would never have been stuck at level 8. Never had his hatred for Lu Hao burned so fiercely. After exiting the secret realm, Lin Shuiyao and her companions scanned the crowd, searching for the man who had saved them inside, the one known as Yin. They wanted to learn his name and school, at minimum to invite him to a meal and express their gratitude. Lu Hao stepped out of the transmission portal and found himself surrounded by a dense throng. Frowning, he headed toward the edge of the square. Before he could travel far, a voice called out from the side. How go? It really is you. I finally found you. Lu Hao turned to Xiao Dapeng. How go? Where did you go last night? I searched the campsite for you and feared something terrible had happened. Lu Hao replied calmly. I hunted too far from camp, so I did not return. How go? I have to say, it's reckless for a livelihood professional to wander around alone at night. Xiao Dapeng's words cut off abruptly. His eyes widened to the size of saucers, and he blurted out in shock. How go? You've reached level 14. Unless concealed by special skills or items, a professional's basic information could be observed by others simply by focusing their spirit. Xiao Dapeng's shout crashed like thunder. A dozen people nearby snapped their heads toward Lu Hao. Level 14? Silence crashed over the small group the next second. Everyone stared, stunned, as if their breath had been stolen away. Then, a wave of disbelieving exclamations erupted. Damn, it's really level 14. How is that even possible? Good heavens, how many monsters must he have slain? That's absurd. How did he level so fast? The commotion among the dozen people rippled outward like a stone striking still water. Hundreds of onlookers turned their heads, many pushing forward to get a better look. Lu Hao frowned. He did not want his extraordinary level exposed to thousands of onlookers, drawing unwanted attention from scheming individuals. This secret could not be revealed yet. Glancing at the nearest onlookers, he reached out and tapped a mage standing beside him. As the mage stared at him in confusion, Lu Hao's displayed information shifted instantly. Level 6, Class, Mage, Talent, Grade E, Fire Element Affinity. With that single touch, he had copied the mage's basic profile, requiring no sustained spirit disguise. At that moment, dozens more people pushed through the crowd. What were you shouting about? Who hit level 14? One newcomer asked as he walked forward. Level 14? That can't be. Who is it? The highest level anyone has achieved in this secret realm in 10 years is level 10. Do you know what you're saying? The newcomers noticed the original group staring intently at Lu Hao and focused their spirit to check his status. They rolled their eyes immediately. Ugh, just a level 6 fire mage. Where's this level 14 everyone's talking about? Did you all lose your minds fighting monsters inside the secret realm? Seriously, making such a fuss for nothing. The original dozen people flushed with embarrassment at the ridicule. They argued back, repeatedly checking Lu Hao's information again, only to grow confused. It had definitely shown level 14 moments earlier. I saw it clearly. It was level 14. We aren't lying to you. The argument drew an even larger crowd, with hundreds of people chattering and speculating. Then more voices cut through the noise. Lu Hao, weren't you a livelihood professional? How are you a fire combat professional now? What? You say he started as a livelihood professional? He's in my class. I would know. Impossible. How can he be a fire mage now? This news proved even more explosive than the rumor of level 14. A livelihood professional transforming into a combat mage was unheard of. Thousands of pairs of eyes locked onto Lu Hao. The testimony from students of number 3 high school left no room for doubt. Lu Hao kept his head slightly lowered amid the crowd. He had chosen to disguise himself as a fire mage rather than an ordinary livelihood professional with careful forethought. He would inevitably participate in combat in the days ahead, and his true strength would surface sooner or later. It was better to reveal part of the truth now, much like how speaking partial truths allows one to hide greater lies. Revealing a portion of reality was the best way to conceal the rest. He had not anticipated triggering such an uproar. Being the focus of thousands of gazes made him deeply uncomfortable. He prepared to push through the crowd and leave when a group of officials approached. Students stepped aside to clear a path. At their head stood Principal Jian, accompanied by principals from other schools. What's this talk of level 14 and a livelihood professional turned mage? The principals had already been quietly searching for Lu Hao within the crowd. A day prior, Li Cheng had been teleported out with severe injuries, claiming Lu Hao had attacked him using fire magic. After confirming the story with Principal Jian, they learned Lu Hao had awakened only a harvesting livelihood talent before entering the secret realm. How could a livelihood professional suddenly wield fire magic? The other principal's first thought was that Principal Jian had made a mistake. Principal Jian double-checked the records and confirmed that Lu Hao's awakening on the day of class transfer had indeed yielded a harvesting livelihood talent. The group of principals was thoroughly baffled. For this reason, when the secret realm closed, not only Principal Jian but numerous other school administrators hoped to witness the truth for themselves. Before they could locate Lu Hao, the commotion surrounding him had already erupted. Lu Hao, you awakened a harvesting livelihood talent. Word has spread that you can cast fire magic. Is this true? Principal Jian asked as he walked forward. It is, Principal Jian, Lu Hao replied calmly. When I underwent my class awakening 2 days ago, I did receive a harvesting livelihood talent. I entered the secret realm intending only to hone my harvesting skills. Sometime later within the secret realm, I unexpectedly awakened a fire talent and learned the minor fireball spell. As he finished speaking, he stretched out his left palm. A small fireball slowly coalesced above his hand. His explanation, paired with the visible fireball, stunned Principal Jian and every other principal behind him. Suddenly, one principal exclaimed aloud, "Dual talents! He possesses dual-class awakenings." Dual-class talents? The shout stunned the other principals and the thousands of surrounding students all at once. A strange silence fell over the quarter of the square centered around Lu Hao. Further away, students unaware of what had happened continued to chatter. The stark contrast drew the attention of everyone else, who fell silent and turned to watch. Principal Jian's face flushed with excitement. Heavens, it truly is a dual-class professional. Thousands of students erupted into an uproar. Everyone had heard of dual-class professionals, yet almost no one had ever met one. Perhaps only one existed among 100,000 students, sometimes even one among 1,000,000. Every single one was a peerless genius. The reasoning was simple. While others possessed one talent and one class, he had 2 of each, granting him an unmatched head start. Furthermore, the combination yielded far greater power than the sum of its parts. Fortune smiles on number 3 high school. We have produced an extraordinary talent. Principal Jian shouted joyfully. Other principals and teachers stared at him with undisguised envy. The students watched Lu Hao with a mix of admiration, jealousy, and resentment. A dual-class professional, an extremely rare talent. Who would not envy him? Principal Jian hurried forward and firmly grasped Lu Hao's hands. Excellent. Simply excellent. At that moment, another principal spoke coldly from behind. Old Jian, do not celebrate too quickly. If he held 2 A-class combat talents, he would rival S-class talents, perhaps even stand equal to SS-class talents. But his 2 talents and classes are mediocre. One is a livelihood profession, and the other is merely grade E fire element affinity. There is no synergistic bonus from dual-class awakening at all. The crowd fell silent at his words. Everyone had been stunned by the sheer rarity of dual talents. Excitement had clouded Principal Jian's mind amid the noise, and he had not yet checked Lu Hao's status. Prompted by the other principal, he focused his spirit to observe. First class, harvesting. Second, grade E fire element affinity. His elation vanished in an instant. The 2 classes had no overlapping strengths and could not create any synergistic advantage. This form of dual-class professional was little more than a grade E fire mage, marginally stronger at best. Principal Jian released Lu Hao's hands, his expression awkward. Watching this scene, thousands of students murmured, and many began to snicker. Wow, dual class? You nearly gave me a fright. A harvesting livelihood professional paired with a low-tier grade E fire talent. This dual-class awakening is practically a joke. Dual talents make others powerful, but this guy's dual talents are nothing to boast about. Others watched Lu Hao with pity. It was like winning 100 lottery tickets, each only worth a tiny sum. The total reward remained insignificant. What was the point? He had wasted the heaven-sent gift of dual talents. Principal Jian calmed down soon after. Though deeply disappointed, he could not openly display such blatant favoritism in front of staff and students. He patted Lu Hao's shoulder. Lu Hao, while you have not become the awe-inspiring dual-class genius everyone imagined, evolving from a livelihood professional to a combat mage is still tremendous personal progress. Keep working hard. Lin Shuiyao's group stood 100 meters away, observing the scene. Your acquaintance is such a pity. He wasted the incredibly rare dual-class awakening, the priest Xiao Shui said. It's still a positive change. He started as a livelihood professional and now fights as a mage. One cannot ask for everything. The assassin Zhou Ji replied. Shuiyao, won't you go congratulate him? Lin Shuiyao shook her head, her gaze calm. Within the secret realm, I have settled all obligations between the Lin and Lu families. The girls knew she referred to the incident where she had risked her life protecting Lu Hao, only for him to flee and leave her behind. Lin Shuiyao turned her gaze away from Lu Hao and scanned the distant crowd. Still no sign of Yan. The crowd gradually dispersed. Some students discussed their experiences inside the secret realm, while others continued joking about Lu Hao's laughable dual talents. To most students, Lu Hao's story was nothing more than casual entertainment. Yet far back in the crowd, Wang Xiang stared at Lu Hao, rage burning in his eyes. The insignificant grade E fire mage represented catastrophic news for him. He had teamed up with Wang Defa to pressure Lu Hao into surrendering his bonus points. He had repeatedly petitioned the principal, arguing that Lu Hao could not participate in the national martial arts examination. If Lu Hao was useless, Wang Xiang had reasoned, the bonus ought to belong to him. Now, however, Lu Hao had awakened to second class and become a combat professional at level 6, fully eligible to take the examination. What grounds remained for him to demand the bonus points? Wang Xiang's features twisted with malice. He had fallen behind Lin Shuiyao in level within the secret realm, and now the bonus points were slipping beyond his grasp. His greatest dream, admission to Tsinghua Peking Martial Arts University, appeared to crumble before his eyes. It cannot end like this. Why has everything changed? His lips turned pale as he muttered to himself. I cannot lose those bonus points. He has to pay. He has to pay. Young Master Wang. Xiaohong looked up from his phone and spoke to Wang Xiang. Communication had been cut off inside the secret realm, but it worked once they exited. He said excitedly, Li Cheng survived. He suffered severe injuries after Lu Hao attacked him and was teleported out. He's arriving shortly with your third uncle and agents from the Investigation Bureau. He quickly recounted the entire incident. Wang Xiang's eyes widened after hearing the news. Then a cold grin spread across his face as he laughed aloud. Fate is on my side. He strode toward Lu Hao. Lu Hao, you attacked another person inside the secret realm. Do you think you can walk away without consequences?